you can hear it.
On. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? What's good? What's good? Shout out to Lenski. Thank you, Lenski, for giving us some real trumpets. I don't know. People tend to get a little bit lazy a little bit, but it's all right. I appreciate you. Shout out to Will. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. We here today. Today is gonna be a spicy day, spicy day, spicy day. I was expecting to get 40 likes at 7:15, but I don't know. People probably don't love me like they used to, because I got at 7:28, so we started a little bit late today. Turn the likes up. Turn the likes up and tell people to come in the room. I need my likes up. Today's a beautiful day. I'm just happy to be here. I feel good about myself. Today is a day where we discuss a real serious issue in relationships, not only in relationships, but also in a community. This issue is something that people take for granted. But today, like we always do, we get busy. We discuss what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, and do it to the best ability. And that's the bottom line. So I might have some surprise guests for you today. It depends. But I'm jumping off the gate spicy today, because what happens is yesterday, if y'all noticed, it ended a little bit crazy. We had one of the best shows ever with our brother, our comrade, Hannibal. He came through and showed love, and I appreciate that. He might drop through tonight. We're not sure. Let's hope for the best. But, you know, we're going to do what we do anyway, regardless of who comes through, who doesn't come through, because our show is based on the truth, and the truth that gives light, the truth that gives some type of guidance to our community, to our men and ladies who are in our community garden. Before we start the show, I would like to give a shout out to all my sponsors. And we only got 2 sponsors so far, but we're in talks of having more, because they've been seeing what we've been doing. We are a fast growing show. In 2.5 weeks, maybe 3, we have 660 subscribers. Also, our impressions are close to 170,000 impressions. We were able to secure a sponsorship from a reputable company. So I'm just happy that we're doing this in a short amount of time. And right now, sky is just the limit, man. Sky's the limit. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to BK. 700. Shout out Rasta, baby. 700 by tonight. We want 700 by tomorrow morning. That's what we're going to do. 700 by tomorrow morning, and then next week we probably earn next week 1,000. I heard you and Lenski had a bet, kinda. He said mid-November, and you said probably this week 1,000. We could get 1,000 if everybody goes and brings a friend into our conversation. Please bring a friend. We are the fastest growing YouTube page, most impactful. They don't have to subscribe to us, but they watch us. Go and look at the views. They watch us. Without further ado, let me please introduce the sponsors. First and foremost, the first sponsor is my book, Love and Life Through the Eyes of Travel. Please go and get it on Kindle, Apple iBooks, BookBaby, and Amazon. My book. This book I wrote it in the Feds, but it contains 5 years of traveling extensively throughout the world with lovers. It is the Rosetta Stone of relationships. It is the Bible of romance. And I just want everybody to please embrace this book. It's an amazing book. Go on Apple iBooks and Kindle and get it, because it's literally $9 on there, and I get a lot of money from that. If you want the physical book, I don't get as much money, but you still get the book. So you save money and I get more money. It's a win-win-win situation, right? Thank you so much. And it's sold out physically. I think it's back in stock now, so go and check it out. I appreciate you. The next sponsor is my favorite sponsor of all times, the ripplecode.com. Shout out to Ripple. They believed in us from the beginning, and I believe in them. Ripple. This is like smoking tea, or actually it's like smoking flowers. Actually, it's crazy. No nicotine, no THC. Pardon my nose, I gotta get them done. Don't get mad at me. At the end of the day, this is like smoking flowers, different flavors: lavender, chamomile, mango, lemon, all types of flavors. Please go and support. No nicotine, no THC, and it's for people like me that don't smoke. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't smoke weed. I just like the look of when you smoke. I like to feel the relaxation. And I'm smoking herbs, like flowers and herbs that's really good for you, like ginkgo, ginger. I'm smoking those type of herbs. So please go and support this product. Down there, if you look, if you put King, the Ripple King, that is my 15% discount code. Don't go there and pay the full price. Use my discount code, the Ripple King. And I promise you will love it. Without further ado, I would like to bring in my main man, the man that never lets me down, that's always ride or die with me throughout this whole YouTube journey. Chef. Chef, introduce yourself, brother. You on mute. You on mute. You've been on mute the whole time. Go ahead.
Damn, and I was feeling extra smooth too, man.
It doesn't matter.
Damn,
Keep going. Keep
I got
going.
to start over.
Hey, Anifa.
Hey, what's up, y'all? What's going on? Welcome to the Garden Rocks and Flowers. It's your boy Chef Chupino. You can catch me at IG, Chef Chupino, one word. You can catch me on YouTube, Chef Space Chupino. And listen, definitely, I want you guys to support the show, all right? And make sure that you do your Cash App at King Hormeku for the show. But if you feel like my brain is being a stripper for you and I'm bearing layers in my brain, you can feel free to hit me up at Cash App, which is $ Chef Chupino as well. You know what I mean? For brain tips, because I'm stripping for you as well. So shit, y'all got me on the pole tonight. All right. So remember, support the page, support the movement. This is what it's about. Let's eat. You see my shirt today? I put it on the page. Make sure you guys subscribe to Facebook, True Pill Community Garden. Make sure you subscribe to it. You're going to get really great questions from members of our panel, members of our community, really conscious, deep debates that we could discuss. You can see little teasers in there also. You're going to see stuff about King that you never understood or that you never knew. You're going to see some things about me that you never understood, you never knew. E Black is going to drop some stuff in there. I put polls in there. We put questions. If you really want to have an impact on this community, go in there. There's going to be, you potentially could put something in there that will impact what we do as we move on. So let's make this happen. I got my no cap shirt. All right. You can't really see because the banner's over, but I got a special shirt for the broadcast. No cap. I said I chose violence. Did I really choose violence? I'm prepared for it. I didn't really choose it, but I'm prepared for it. Clip is loaded. Got the fully extendo.
Before we go into the discussion, we always got to break down the language and let you know for all the newcomers who are coming into the room for the first time. Language is the first defense for any culture, any community. So for you to understand why we say certain things, we're going to give a quick 10-second, 20-second explanation from Chef why we call ourselves the garden, the chat room, and why we call the ladies the flowers, and why we call the men the rocks, and why we are the our sphere, not the manosphere, but our sphere. Talk to them, Chef.
You set it up different this time. That's all right, though. We know how to freestyle. So in this internet world, you have the regular internet world, and then you have this interesting place called the manosphere. We are not the manosphere. We do not espouse the pain and all of the characteristics of the manosphere. We are a place where we take into account all people's pain. We take into account all people's understanding and all people's dynamics, and we allow for a place where everyone can communicate, right? So we are not part of the manosphere. We are part of our sphere. Our sphere is it's a totally different kind of place. totally different kind of place. So within our sphere, there's a place called our True Pill Community Garden. So we talk about True Pill. What is True Pill? Because we do not espouse all of the pain, hurt, angst, fear, uncertainty, doubt of the red pill community or the blue pill community. We are a stronger community. We are a true pill community that allows true discourse within all of our members within the garden to communicate and discuss different aspects of how we feel with a level of respect and safety. So we are not red pill or blue pill, we are true pill. Next, within our garden, the True Pill Community Garden, we have two life forms that we hold and endear the most to us, which are the rocks and the flowers. What are the flowers? The flowers are our ladies, our queens, our sisters, regardless of ethnicity, religion, gender-based preference, acronym. They are the flowers within our garden. And what do they do to us? They give us life. They utilize light from the sun to create air and oxygen for us to breathe. I mean, they keep us alive. They make us breathe. And even after we use and expel that energy and turn that air into carbon dioxide, they take it back and use that light and breathe it back into us as pure oxygen again, which means they take our shit and are still able to bring us back to where we need to be. So they must be protected. They are the source of life within our community. We, the men, the brothers, we are the rocks. We are dense in mass. We are the tools, the weaponry that David used to defeat Goliath. Where do you find rocks within the garden? Normally on the outer perimeter or the outer periphery of the garden. What is the purpose that we serve? We protect those precious flowers. We protect those precious flowers. And in protecting those flowers, if someone were to dare attempt to step into our garden, they would have to feel the pain of sharp rock against their feet. And then think about if they were going to continue. What else do the rocks do? Rocks are normally placed in areas where you wish for no soil and you wish for no life to grow. So rocks also eliminate weeds that may poison our precious flowers. So it's really, really crazy how this beautiful ecosystem we have works. But if we all play our part, this ecosystem will grow. So the rocks and the flowers are what we are.
That's
so everyone take your place in the garden. It's yours.
I love that intro. I love that intro. I really do. Let's get spicy now. Let's get spicy. Let's start talking up. Somebody start the 30-second clock. If you didn't come in early, you're gonna miss this smoke that somebody's gonna get right now. Somebody put 30 real quick, because what's happened is I realize a lot of people are not respecting what we're trying to do here. We're trying to do something positive for the community, but you got a lot of haters because they don't want us to see get this money. But it's okay. We had a beautiful show yesterday with men up here, fathers and sons, men up here talking about real situations in regards to people cheating on their community, their loved ones, and their jobs. Then all of a sudden, at the end, when everything is going good, guess who pops in the room with his passive-aggressive ass? Chicago Rilla. Chicago Rilla, I already killed you a long time ago. And since I talked about you, you never got a show. You're telling me not to mention you or do anything with anybody on your network. One is not your network. You don't own a dime. You are a worker in that network. The difference between me and you is everybody on my stage is their own boss. Your boss won't even protect this network, but you're protecting it. Chicago, you got an issue, man. You got a big issue, but it's okay. I understand. I love you. I love all the hits that you made. E40 was one of my greatest artists. What's E40 song again? Tell me when to go. How that song go? Tell me when to go. E40. Chicago, you look like E40. And I know why you mad now. I know why you mad. You mad because you'll never get a show. And if you do, it's because of me and the pressure I put on you. Leave my show alone. I don't want to be friends. I don't need your compliments. I don't need your super chat. Stop calling people and talking about me. Come up here and say what you have to say, and we could talk it out. But stop talking about me. Leave me alone. I'm going to say what I want to say and say how I want to say it. The only people that could stop me is my parents. Funny thing though, my mother called me today. She said, Mawu, because she calls me Mawu. She says, Mawu, one of my friends at work told me that her daughter says you have a show on TV. I said, Ma, I don't have a show on TV. She said, you have a show on TV. Don't lie to me, Mawu. I said, Mommy, I don't have a show on TV. I have a show on YouTube. She said, whatever you do, don't disrespect women. That's the only thing my mother said, don't disrespect women. But I'm going to disrespect you, Rilla. If you're a man, you're getting disrespected, period. If you talk about my show, if you come on my show and being passive aggressive, you're getting disrespected online, period. There's nothing you could do about it. Y'all can't stop me. I'm growing and I'm getting bigger every single day. And I don't want your network to win. I'm not one of those people that be like, oh, we all can win. No, I want your network to be gone. 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 Thank you. Anyway, on a brighter note, let's begin the topics today. No more smoke session. But you can always call in, brother. Call in. You have all that smoke at the end of the show, but you never called in. People be fronting. They be capping. Today's topics. Let us begin, brother. We're going to talk about a spicy topic today. Today I showed the Will and Jada thing. It was big on the Shade Room and all social media outlets and Boil Alert about how Jada did the Red Table talk.
Red Table talk, yeah.
And she was talking about. She said that her and the guest there was talking about how women or just partners, men and women, expect their lovers to know what they want and think. They really expect that. They really expect that from their lovers. And I think that we need to go into a little bit about today about how expectations within relationships kill relationships. Expectations kill relationships. So I would like for you to read this particular, it's actually in my book actually, and I want you to read it and let me know what you gather from it. Georgia, we letting you up, baby. We letting you up. Don't forget, we letting you up. Would you mind reading that?
All right. Sin is followed by the fear of being caught. Crime is followed by the fear of being punished. Love is followed by the fear of being rejected. To be honest, my demons being revealed and my flesh being tortured are nothing in comparison to having you feel the same way I feel about you. It is not infidelity that destroys love most. It is expectations. Mawali K. Hameko.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Talk to me. This is the issue. This is the problem with a lot of people in relationships. We can't read each other's minds. I don't care how long you've been with somebody. I don't care how much you think you know them. Stop assuming. Stop assuming. What's up, Georgie? Talk to us. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
Hey, Georgie. GD.
Yeah, what's going on, fellas?
GD. What up?
What's up? We got you up here. I know you got things to say and things to do, but I'm glad you're with us, Georgia. We appreciate your support. But if you got something to say, because we're about to get into the topic, but I know you got something to say, so talk to us.
Yeah. So I wanted to hop on real quick because I wanted to contribute to the smoke that you're providing here. Because I I saw that post that he had left in that Laqueef group. Man, he just had so much venom for you. And
What
again,
do you
at
say? What do you
the
say?
so pretty much there's he's and of course he's doing that you know, real passive aggressive shit. I guess that's kind of like the code of conduct there.
Right.
Where he's pretty much he had put caps on like certain wording, and for words that even like you used as like C at the beginning of it, he used it as a K. So being really subliminal, talking about you
Right.
and in the network.
Right.
So of course, and again, it that's the funny thing. It's never direct. You know, so much smoke and it's always with that passive aggressive coded language. People were commenting on that post saying, like, who are you talking about? What are you talking about? You know, and he's giving out riddles pretty
Right.
much rather than actually answering it direct. And I
Right.
told him, I'm like, look, once again, here you are going full employee mode. You know, got so much energy on behalf of the network, but here you got bum ass dudes calling in, disrespecting, the people that you're supposed to be are assigned to the network, people you're supposed to respect, and just let them, pretty much sheep to the wolves, pretty much, and just tear
Right.
them apart. And here Rilla was, he was there when those, the black community's trash or black culture's trash comments were being made,
Right.
and again, never had any of this energy toward Anton. None of those moments where he's pretty much body shaming Kay on the show. Had nothing to say there. All of it, and it's just, let me see, what time is this? Because I know their not so intelligence team is watching. So let's, Arshawn, if you're watching, let's timestamp at 22:03. You can clip this and you can share it onto that page. Rilla, why can't you keep that energy consistent? Because you're an employee. You're an employee. When it comes down to it, at the end of the day, you're just a company man. You don't all of that energy that he always has toward pretty much acolytes of Anton. He'll do little lives like on Fridays and whatnot. Even do a live with Courtney, where he's acting like he's kind of going at these people, but then when he's on the panel, it's gone. And even when Anton will address him straight up, I heard you had so much smoke. I don't know what he's talking. Look, I mean, if you really want, just so evasive. Just again, none of the energy is ever consistent when it comes to actual, people, and just not even to be like, the male protector, any, shit like that. Just overall decency, man.
Right.
Like,
Right.
like I can't respect him after that.
Okay.
Because again, all he proves to me is that he's just an employee.
I don't know what to say, George. I do appreciate you, and I'm so glad you came up to tell the truth. And only one person disagree with you. That's Kofi. No coffee, no cream, but hopefully that person could come up and say why that person doesn't agree with you, because I agree with you. I agree with you. At the end of the day, he's a good person. That's why I don't understand why Chicago Real is acting like this. He wants to protect people, but he doesn't protect it when someone's giving him a check. People are slaves to opportunities and slaves to money. I'm not going to sell my soul for $200 a week, $400 a week, or the opportunity to have my own show. And you don't.
Yeah.
You're standing next to someone that has 60,000 subscribers and you don't have a YouTube page. Some people like being subservient. There's nothing wrong with being an employee and a worker. There's nothing wrong, but to be subservient, there's a thin line between stupidity and loyalty. There's a thin line. Every 660 subscribers I got it the hard way. And they respect me. And it's growing. 2.5 weeks and we're growing. Sponsors, people like you that recognize what's really going on. And I appreciate that. But stay online. Let's keep busy. Let's talk about what's going on. Georgie, how do you feel about expectations in relationships? This is just a spicy topic. Do you feel that your lover or your partner needs to know after a certain time how to love you correctly or treat you correctly? Let me know. Talk to me, Georgie.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I feel like that is the true separation between um, a just a relationship and marriage. So currently, like
Mm,
right now in my situation, I have a fiance. Not really anything official, but I mean we pretty much do everything, but the like a whole title part.
right,
But I told her, before we get married, I would like to just have a therapy session for us where we can at least have an understanding on what we are expecting of each other going into that marriage.
right.
So and it kind of I'm not even going to touch on that because that might be a little too private.
Yeah, I don't want you to
But
get in trouble. Please don't get in trouble.
yeah,
Right,
and you might get word of this, but yeah, I feel like when it comes to a marriage, that's when you should lay down those expectations because in the end, it is a contract. Um, and even though I know that they a lot of the manosphere will talk about how much of it's a business and love's not really that important. It's a pretty damn important element to at least to keep it lasting for me. And part of that love is learning how to nurture that particular individual. So I can tell when there's certain moments where my lady isn't feeling the best or isn't necessarily um, I mean, pretty much she's just having a tough go at with a particular day. Like there's some things I know that she won't need to communicate with me. I can kind of, you know, meet her there and address it to, alleviate whatever's going on, and so we can, because in the end we're a team as well.
right.
So I feel like that's important to do with one another.
Well, so Natalie agrees with you. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Natalie. Shout out to Valerie. Shout out to Danique. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody that comes in every day to show us love. Natalie says, very good. Establish boundaries. Speak on likes and dislikes and non-negotiables. So, Georgie, so you have these conversations. You went to something pseudo therapy, kind of counseling, but is it expected after dating someone, you are supposed to know how to treat them?
Yeah, really.
Damn.
Because you're I mean at that point you're not just my fling or just someone I'm kicking it with you know for so and so period of time. Like you're now mine and I'm yours. So if and in that title, if I'm supposed to be leaving assets with you, if I were to
Right,
go, and vice versa, then it's very important to have that because again, it in this aspect, it's much like a business.
right,
Um, and of course, love is how you end up at least motivating those particular behaviors.
right. Well, as simple things, when you wake up, is it expected for you to give them a hug? Like, is it like you if your lady has her head down, you know that you have to give her a hug, or you know what to do to get her feeling better? Do you
Oh,
know? Do you
absolutely.
know?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I can tell because, and it's kind of true with just a lot of people, at least in my generation, deal with a lot of anxiety and depression.
Right,
So I can tell if she's overworked or if it's just a lot of, things out of her control, are taking place and she's feeling a little bit stressed out. She is the type that will need that hug
right,
and kind of clingy in that way, but I don't mind. That's, what's what I'm here for. But yeah, absolutely. There's definitely moments where you can see in them where they're having a tough go at it and, and kind of, and I hate this comparison, but it's like the way, kind of like the way like a storm would work on a
right,
dog or so, and they need like those little, like jackets or whatever, kind of, which is pretty much working as a hug. It's pretty much the same thing, pretty much. Like you can
right.
tell if someone's getting overworked, their body's getting tensed up and things like that. Yeah, just you'd be amazed actually, just how just a hug will really just kind of bring you back down to reality, really.
Right. So a caller has a question for you, and I have the same question. Seven says, what are the signs you look for in your partner, just your particular partner? And then maybe Chef could talk about expectations and what are the signs that partners expect us to notice. Thank you.
For me, at least in my particular situation, if she's getting worked up in a particular conversation, or at least just any type of energy being spent, that's not actually like a physical like workout or something like that.
Right.
Like an altercation or just work, bullshit traffic, things like that. Well, I already know are certain triggers for her already. So, she won't necessarily need to even really say anything if she happens to get home, because I'm working from home at the moment, so I'm not necessarily going out. She is working out, at least at her office. But there's times where I can just tell, she'll if she's not necessarily saying much, that, at least for me, I'll hold back a little bit, let her do, whatever she needs. And, of course, and that hug's going to come through to at least help bring her back down to, leave that work shit at the job. You're at home, you're with people that love you, and you don't need to, bring it here. Because that's a problem really just for just your modern working folks here. They're just overworked. You see this in the labor market right now. People are stressed. It's a lot, for just your average working people.
Right. You stated something about anxiety, depression, mental health issues happen nowadays. Is it expected for relationships and people in your relationship or the person you love to know when you're going down? I had a relationship with a young lady, and she was uh, somewhat immobile because she was going through depression, but it didn't align with what the goals we set when we first met each other. And then I didn't feel like it was my job to I didn't feel like, first of all, I didn't know that I have the tools to notice that she was going through that, because we were going out to eat every time. We were enjoying life, but then all of a sudden when responsibility came in, she was depressed. So is it our job to know when someone's depressed and having anxiety? Is that, or is it their job to let us know?
It can be both. Again, if this is your partner, there's at least going to be signs from previous behaviors that you're going to see that will help you do that. But you're right. There's certain moments where, at least in that individual, you got to see some type of resolve within them. So and it sounds like, at least in your scenario here, she seems to be almost like has almost disabling type of anxiety, where like if shit gets tough, or at least things aren't necessarily going right, she kind of freezes up in the moment and not necessarily know how to move forward. And it was maybe your struggles and just trying to get her out of that mindset to move forward. Is that what it sounds like you had that issue with?
Right.
Yeah. See, and that is a problem. So that's the type of stuff that, even if you are working with someone like in an active relationship where you guys aren't necessarily official or anything like that, that is the exact reason why you would want to go into some form of therapy or counseling before getting married. Because, while we can always be empathetic to those disorders that are out there, you still kind of got to move on with your life. You still got to be able to at least navigate it. And if if it's so crippling that, you can't even make life decisions, then obviously that person's not ready for marriage, let alone a relationship.
Wow.
So that's something that this is kind of the Kevin Samuels subscription or prescription, pretty much, is that you got to fix yourself before even getting out in that type of market. Because the dating market alone is traumatizing on its own. So
Right.
what the hell are you gonna
Clean
where are
your
you gonna
own
be
room.
like? Yeah, where are you gonna be like? If you happen to get rejection, that person you swiped right on, that at least swiped right on you as well, never return that DM. You're gonna be fucking crushed. So again, that's the type of stuff that you need to take care of beforehand, because it's going to affect your relationship and the type of partner you probably end up getting as well.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much, Georgie. E Black, what's up? We missed you yesterday, brother. Talk to us and let us figure out what's going on. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad everything is working out for you after the tornado. Talk to us about expectations. Are we expected to know what our partners are feeling, or is it their job to let us know how they're feeling? After years of being married and having kids, do you feel like you need to know what your partner is feeling?
Yeah, I actually do. I think what happens in marriage, it's almost like the basketball court. You think you know about basketball until somebody comes and shows you what real hooping about. And in marriage, it's the same thing. You think you
And
know
I
your
like
partner.
that.
You think you know your partner. You think you know everything they want until she shows you, hey, one day on a dinner table, why don't we try something new? You're like, wait a minute. I thought we were doing everything right.
Mm-hmm.
you know so I mean, it's that's why it's important to check in, have conversations. Don't think you're the know-it-all, because I'm telling you, people will keep deep dark secrets for years.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, with the young lady who was, when it came down to responsibility, sometimes they can complete a couple of tasks, but sometimes these tasks, you'll notice that they're not really built for them.
Mm.
So I think you definitely need to study your partner. I think you definitely need to check in with your partner. I like what George said. Definitely get therapy. Me and my wife go to therapy like once a year. Sometimes, and when we get into different spaces, we might go twice. But you have to be able to check in with your partner. That's the most important thing to do, is check in, understand what they need and what they want, because you'll never know. Sometimes, even as men, like, there was a space and time in which I was just coasting. I was just coasting. And then
Right.
I realized I needed something. And it came out in alcoholism. It came out in selfishness. So I had to get myself in check.
Right.
And she didn't realize it because I was so accustomed to using the normal blockers in
So I like that.
society.
Right.
So you know what I mean. So that's why it's definitely important for us to definitely check in. I'm sorry, one second. My dog is
It's
barking.
all right. Listen, Chef, go ahead.
Communication. This one is an easy one. I don't have to get extra profound and flip the paradigm on this one. Know who you choose. Know who you choose. One more time. Know who you choose.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the other flip. Choose who you know. Choose who you know. I got to keep balance on the balance. So one more. Choose who you know. Don't just know who you choose. Choose who you know.
I like that. I like that a lot.
The people that you rock with, the people that you bring into your circle, you have to vet them. The people, we tend to vet the people that we want to become friends and allies, but we don't vet them as much as the people that we tend to become love mates or companions. Why is that? With one, the brain and the mentality and intellect precipitates what the view or the perspective is. In another, the heart precipitates what the view and perspective is.
Right.
So in the end, we hustling ourselves sometimes. So, know who you choose and choose who you know. We walk into relationships, we walk into situations seeing a person. Fellas, we got to know. There's times when you can see one girl and you're like, man, she would make an awesome wife. But that's not what we're looking for right now. We want the smash and grab. We don't
Mm.
want the long heist. We want the smash and grab. So when we want to smash and grab the girl that would be the ultimate wife, we will either, one, the good guys will leave her alone. will leave her alone. The other guys will lock in with her so that they can keep her in deck, locked in, until they decide to make a move and finish playing.
Turn the
So
lights off.
we understand. We understand what it is, know who you're choosing, choose who you know. That's I thought it was gonna be shorter than this, but this is my no cap shirt night tonight, so I'm gonna let you have it. Let's go.
Hey, you inspire me. You inspire me. I'll put my no cap sweater.
On
Bum,
Capital.
bum.
Well, I don't have one yet, but I'll get one soon.
We gonna get you one.
Let's talk about why is a woman's anger warranted when she feels that her man is not acknowledging her issues? Is it warranted? Because the whole basis of this is that women tend to get mad at men because they feel like they are not being acknowledged or their feelings are not being acknowledged. And we men are not as smart as you think we are at times, emotionally smart, right? We're preoccupied with certain things. Is she warranted to have that anger? And if she is, what can we do to let her know it wasn't personal? What can we do? E Black? Oh, good. Sorry, Chef. Go ahead, Chef. Go ahead, Chef.
If you're smart enough to understand how to be in a relationship with a beautiful flower, whether it's warranted or not, doesn't really matter. A lot of the issues that some of our flowers have with us when we're together with them, we don't consider them warranted because we're practical creatures. So it's never warranted. It's like, oh God, here we go. Shit, what did I do? Oh, damn it. That's the way it is for us. I thought I did something good. Oh man, I forgot some other shit. We never really think it's warranted unless we know we screwed up. But it's understood. We understand where it's coming from. We understand that when we take on the opportunity to love this wonderful mystical creature, and tie ourselves to this wonderful mystical creature, we understand all of the things that come with that wonderful and mystical creature. So it's like, damn it, man, I know this is what I signed up for, so I just take it. Sometimes some of the things that we may feel is unreasonable, we stand it because we understand the species of the person that we choose to be with us. And those are the things that we take it as a toss up because they were there before we decided to lock ourselves in.
Right.
So, the amount of power and the amount of energy within that dynamic will determine how much we are willing to take.
Right. E Black, talk to us.
It's really more a system of the social construct. Men have been taught for years to regress their emotions, to only pay attention to the goal, which is to build. The more emotional that we are, the more aware of our emotions that we become is stereotypically called weak. So, and in a lot of ways, we ignore the emotions of a woman, and it just puts you in a bad space to where sometimes we call it masculinity and resting in femininity, and we get all into these talking points and stuff. It's right. Just blatantly, we're just not really, men are not being trained to understand the needs of a woman on that level. It's more or less, our goal is to take care of them.
Right. But isn't that enough? Is that enough?
No, it's not enough. I'm telling you right now, if you want to have long lasting relationships, you're going to have to understand emotions of everybody involved. And that's even in partnerships too.
Go into that, E Black. I'm like, because right now you are the man that is actually technically fully betrothed. Like, and this is important. I want you to understand first. You're a member of this panel. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And there was something that you had stated way back on a different network a while back that you got a lot of flack for. You got a lot of flack for, family, and it was actually a beautiful thing when you said it. When you got the flack the following week after you said it, I was actually on a trip back. I was driving a 15-passenger van, okay, from a funeral in Chicago, and the show was on and was watching. You stated something when they talked about prenuptials and this and that, and you stated, "Yeah, I'm not getting divorced, and if I get divorced, she's getting everything." And people said, "Why?" And from what I understood, what you articulated was she, correct me if I'm wrong, to some degree, you feel like she saved your life. She gave you life. She was a flower within your garden, right? I go to your Facebook, I see your page. You understand what I'm saying? I heard you. What you didn't, you talked about some of the dark times in your life, but by the same token, when I hear what you say, you tell me that the reason somebody, just like a samurai, they would give their life for that person who saved their life. It's a life bond. So, so you, in terms of the perspective that you bring, is a dope perspective, and I want you to continue. Remember, this is just a safer space for the mother folks as it is for you. You know what I mean? And I want you to talk from that perspective, from that man that feels that he owes his wife. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Let that shit go, family. Like, shit, this is the spot. This is the garden, man. They need to hear this.
You know, a lot of times people, like I can understand from a situation where King, he's traveled the world and everything, and he's established his kingdom, and I can understand he may not understand my perspective. I can understand a lot of different people, even a 50-year-old lawyer who for
I
20
never, I
years.
never said I never agree with it.
I know, but I'm just laying it out. I'm just
Okay.
saying you have the right to your own opinion. The fact of the matter is when you've sat on the floor in an empty apartment eating nothing but noodles, or when you've dedicated financial aid where she could have pocketed her financial aid and she invested in me to be a computer programmer and bought textbooks, and when I've helped her get her a political science degree, and we've had this relationship to where we've built each other up. It's been ups and downs, trust me. But the man I am today is a reflection of my relationship. The man
Mm-hmm.
I am today is a reflection of who I've dealt with for the last few years. So
The
I
man I am today is a reflection of my relationship. Put
Right.
that shit on a t-shirt or a pajama.
Right.
so it's not a lot of things, like I say, I've been homeless. I've literally had to sleep in my car. I've literally had to beg friends, "Hey man, I'm down bad." And I looked at their face and I could see the disgust. But
Mm.
there was always one person who was there for me. There was always one person who was willing to Western Union me some money when I was down bad. So I can't sit here and say that, you know, people are going to understand because they've never dedicated their lives to another person. And for the rest of my life, this person that I'm with right now is going to be taken care of. She'll never be that.
She kept money on your books when you were locked in the prison of life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I get it. Some people may not understand this concept, but my daughter will always be taken care of. My wife, whether she wants to be here or not, she's going to understand that I'm never going to see her on the side of a road.
Turn the lights up.
These type of commitments you guys got to understand, and I'm doing everything that I have. I'll do anything it takes to prevent that. That's the thing that people don't understand. People understood the ending part. but they don't understand the part that I'm talking about in prevention.
Right.
I'm willing to go to
And
therapy.
that's what I'm saying. Prevention. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to go off tangent because that's where I feel like we're going. But the prevention part is knowing. How is a person supposed to know what another person thinks or feels? No matter how much times you study them or how many times you around them, people grow every day unless you're dating a robot. So, what preventions or steps to preventing you being disconnected to your wife do you take? That's the question I want to be answered.
You know, you have to have communication. I'll tell you that. You have to actually just say, "Hey, how was your day today? How are you feeling today?" You know, don't like even when I got started with this podcast and it's been kind of up and down. I make sure the first thing I do when I get out of here is I wake her up and I say, "Hey, how are your day?"
Mm,
I make sure I do the things that are necessary that I know I feel a woman should understand.
right.
And she understands my spirit. So and we're very vocal and open. I remember going to the doctor, right? I don't know how to
Question,
talk.
question before you tell the story. Terry just says some people don't grow.
Hmm.
Is that true? Can you be in a relationship with someone that doesn't grow, but
Yes.
they expect you to help them grow? How do you deal with that after you tell your story? Georgie, that question is for you, Georgie.
Well, let me say it like this. When I go, I've been a man. I've been a man who
I
without
would hope so.
without health insurance for a long time, right? So I've never went to the doctor. I just recently started going to the doctor, and I realized that I could not communicate my pain to him. They would ask you, what's your level of your pain? 1 to 10. I'd say 3, 2. But I didn't understand that the doctor is trying to communicate the level of medicine that he needs to help me. And these are the things that, like, I try to tell people, if you're not used to communicating these things, you'll never get fixed. So, that's one way that I try to tell men is that, hey, imagine going to a doctor and and he's trying to help you. That's how you have to teach your wife or your lover. They're trying to help you, and you're going to
Mm,
have to be vulnerable. So, yeah, I'm a man enough to where if I roll my ankle, yeah, that's a 2. It's a 3. But it really is an 8. I can't walk.
mm.
But you being macho.
Yeah.
Georgie, talk to me.
Yeah. Repeat for me the at least the question again.
All right. The question is expectations. Are we? Or do we have to? And I repeat, do we have to figure out how our ladies are feeling, um, even
Oh
when
wait.
they're not willing to grow?
So okay. Oh, if they're not willing to grow,
Right.
jeez. Um.
Because people say what they want, but sometimes they marry someone else. One day you wake up and that the person that you fell in love with is not the person that you thought you were in love with. So how
People
do
fell
you
in love
expect
maybe with
that?
their
What is
expectation.
stuff you could do to prevent that?
I mean, I think the first two fellas pretty much laid it out already. I mean, which is communication, and consistent communication at that, because you know, that that
How do you like
conversation
that?
you could have had at the beginning of your relationship, may have been interpreted a little bit differently,
Right.
and it's kind of like a little like check-in, honestly, to do uh, periodically throughout the relationship. I couldn't really put a certain time limit on that, at least
Right.
when to do that. But I want to answer because I just remembered at least the original question that got to this, which was you said, are women valid in their anger towards us if we uh, don't understand their feelings, correct?
Yes.
All right. So, yes
I
and
like
no.
that. Yes and no.
So,
Okay.
yes and no. So, for the most part, the reason why I say it's both is because, um, yeah, because we just generally don't always have the best way to communicate with each other on how we're feeling, and that's even vice versa as guys. Sometimes we don't necessarily even speak up enough to say what we do want. Um, So that can be a problem, and that again goes down to communication. I say no, just because sometimes they're just going to be upset because they wanted you to really read their mind sometimes, and there's really nothing you can do about it. And like Chef said, you're just going to have to roll with that and just go to whatever it takes to get that understanding level again. So hopefully you can, and that's at the end too, where when these issues do come up, you're going to look for a resolution for the next time this comes around. What can I do, or what can you do to help make this a better situation for both of us?
Mm-hmm. I got my yacht down there. I got my yacht down there, and I want to bring her up, but I have to hold people hostage. I need some more likes. I need like 10 more likes, and I'm bringing her up. That's real quick. Bring her up. 10 more likes, and we bringing my yacht up because she gives the real.
Let me drop this real quick. So I definitely agree with what E-Black is talking about. I definitely agree with what George is talking about. With love, love is a language. Love is a language. Languages tend to change the same way we can have certain words that did not exist within our dictionary before. And as we change those languages, we have a ton of new words that are added. Love is like emotional welfare. We understand the party. We understand what they need and what they may lack within themselves. And we pour into those people based on those things that we believe they need and what they lack within themselves, based on how much they love them. So love is emotional welfare. The only thing is you do it because you love them.
Absolutely.
But love is also like a computer language. Love is also like a computer language, C++ and all the others. What's the difference with welfare and computer language? Forget about the difference. Let's talk about the commonality. We must constantly recertify for welfare and for basic computer languages that exist for programming. We must constantly recertify.
Right.
So giving a ring, telling her you're my girl now, giving her a ring, it doesn't mean that you have to stop learning from that person that you're with. It's a constant learning process. It's you learning her. It's her learning you. You get what I'm saying? And then it's you being able to do that fine-tuned dance around the fire of love that exists. But it's a consistent learning process. And if you think you know what you got and you got what it takes from jump, in my honest opinion, that potentially will be your demise, because you're then or thus ignoring the fact that your mate has the ability to evolve as a woman or as a man.
Right.
And also you gotta learn
get
yourself.
Get the likes up. We need a few more. We're bringing my ad up, and Hannibal is coming back. Hannibal is coming back tonight. So let's get this thing set up. We getting spicy. We're not in our main topic today. Our main topic is forgiveness, but I would love to have the stage with Mayat and Hannibal. That type of conversation is something different. I love when they get together. Right now, Chef is killing it. Chef is killing it like he always do. But we want to talk about expectation. Let's get Mayat up in here. And if Terry comes in, it's going to be a show. It's definitely going to be a show.
But to jump on with
sorry,
Chef
I apologize.
Jump on what Chef said, you do have to learn yourself, because you don't know your expectation. Because like I said, there was a point in my life at which I didn't know what was wrong with me. And some of these things are from childhood trauma. A lot of people don't understand. You never understood why you'll never understood why a person will come out and have a corporate job for 30 years. The next thing you know, they'll quit it because there's something deep down inside them that's just not fulfilled, right? Learning yourself and learning and learning how to communicate the needs go hand in hand. Because you can't just sit there and just be an outflow of expectation. You can't be sitting there saying, "Hey, tell me what you want. Tell me what you want." No, you need to learn yourself, and then you can tell somebody what you want.
Mm, E Black is cooking up tonight. Maya, you know why we have you up here for. We need you to give some representation for the flowers and to give us the truth about how women feel or expect men to know how to act, behave, and talk to them within the construct of marriage or dating. Please drop that on us.
Okay. All right. Peace, everyone. So I really jumped on here because E Black was speaking, and I had to jump on here because so a lot of people were saying that they disagree with E Black, but he was speaking straight facts. Because when you grow with a
Mm,
person, when you are with that person, a lot of people don't want to go through marriage and get to that sweet spot. They want it to be at that sweet spot in the beginning, but it takes time, it takes years. You have to learn to how to communicate with that person. Just like Chef said, it's a language. So you're learning that person's language. A lot of time we are loving people the way that we want to be loved instead of loving that person the way that they need to be loved.
mm.
So you
Kind of like so. Kind of
definitely
like so.
have to get through the rough patches, the rough spots. And so you can get to that peace, that sweet spot, literally that heaven on earth. Once you get past those moments of discomfort, it's like training for an event. Like, if you were an athlete or whatever you did, you're training, you have to go through those rough patches before you can get to that sweet spot where it feels good almost every single day. When it comes to expectations though, like there um obviously are things that women are going to expect. Like we're going to expect that you're going to respect us even when you argue with us, right? Like we don't want to be called out our names. We don't want to be talked to disrespectfully. So you have to learn how to communicate even through an argument. There are some things that you can't do, like no low you're not going to take low blows with that woman, because at the end of the day you still want to have a relationship with her. There's some things that I'm never going to say to my husband is never going to say to me, because we have a mutual respect for each other. Even if we're arguing, even if we don't disagree, we have a mutual respect and love for one another, and we're not going to belittle that just because we're angry in that moment. So expectations. One thing that before I got married, my cousin was married, and he actually said, "Do not have expectations going into a marriage." And I think there are some expectations you should have, but you cannot expect a person to know who you are before they have they know who you are. So you can't
Kind of
go into
like
that
so.
marriage thinking that that person is able to read your mind. You can't expect that person is going to know what you like. There was a point in my marriage where, even like with gifts, like my husband would give me certain gifts that he thought I would like, and I'd be like, oh, but he has learned that he had to learn how what kind of gifts that I like, or what kind of things that I like, if I like jewelry or if I like flowers and all those different kind of things. Like somebody's not going to understand that about you just from the beginning of that relationship. They're going to learn you, and sometimes it takes years for a person to love you, to learn you. And so I think a lot of people just don't want to put the work in. They want it to feel good as soon as they get into it. But that's just not how it works. When you're training, when you're working out, when you're exercising, it doesn't feel good in the especially in the beginning. And it that's a whole different topic. But it's not going to always feel good. Sometimes it's going to take work and effort, and you're going to have to sit back and say, is this person worth it? I do believe that there are some people who are not necessarily worth the effort, But if you're not putting in the hard work and you know that you got somebody who is worth that effort,
Gonna like some.
then you do have to sit back and say, okay, what am I doing? One thing that I did, I used to point fingers. In the beginning of my marriage, I used to point fingers at my husband all the time. I'd
Mm-hmm.
like, man, oh, he's doing this, he's doing this, he's leaving stuff here, all that. And then I stopped and I said, what am I doing?
Right.
I took it inwardly and said, how am I affecting this relationship?
Right.
Why is he reacting to me this way? And so I took it and I took on a journey of me looking inwardly instead of always pointing the finger at the things that he was doing. So I think people who are not married or not in real good committed relationships are always the loudest. They're always the loudest and they're always wrong. And I'm not saying everyone, but a lot of them are the the people who are wrong are always the loudest. So I just had to come up here and, support what E
Now,
Black was saying because he was saying he was speaking straight facts.
right. All right. So hold on. I left that question on there because I want, I don't like anybody being silenced. I want E Black to respond to that question, and we're gonna introduce Hannibal. And I didn't see the elephants come on the screen. When Hannibal come on the screen, I need to see the elephants, baby. I need to see the elephants. Please show them some love. What's up, E Black?
Yo. First shout out to Hannibal. I wasn't here yesterday, man, and
He killed it. He killed it.
you killed him, my guy, and I appreciate you showing up. I know, it's hard for us to make appearances, and I'm glad you changed your mind, man. Especially, never mind. We'll have more convos, but to address the question, that's the whole thing. A lot of people say, don't marry young. Well, and I tell people, can you have faith at a young age? Can you believe in God at a young age? These are things that are everlastingly growing as you become an adult. So it's the same process. It's the exact same process. When you get married young, you're learning yourself, you're growing in your faith in your marriage, you're spiritually connected yourself. You're taking it from one point to the end of your life. There is no sweet spot in your life or perfect place in your life to get married. It's all dependent on your faith. So when we're telling our women to get young, we're telling our women to say, hey, start early, get you a man, and work on the things that humans need to work on. And you're not going to get it right all the time. You're going to have to learn. And that's okay. But the beauty of it is then at the end of the day, you're going to be sitting there with somebody you love and they know you and you know them. That's the point.
Okay. Hannibal, talk to us.
What's happening?
What's happening?
I'm sorry I came late. I don't like to be tardy to the party, but I was actually I was working late and I had to go to the store and get some eardrops from my wife because she got she a little under the weather and all that. And that's what you do when you got a partner. You got to help take care of them.
Right.
I've been listening to the show so far, and when I hear people talk about relationships, my interest get piqued right away because only like at this point in my life have I understood what the potential what realizing the potential of a good bond with a person, what it really can mean. I've been married before and divorced, had plenty of toxic relationships to the point where it's like you think, why do people even do this?
Okay.
And then, me and my wife got married 4 years ago and it was rough at first. But when we stabilized, when we got better at taking care of each other, at serving each other, wow, how much happiness and peace and joy and pleasure and satisfaction came out of it. To where it's like, I feel at times like this is what they're talking about in the love songs. This what the old folks are talking about.
Right.
And the thing that really saddens me is when I see young people in the toxic exchanges, knowing that we operate under the false presumption that having a relationship is easy.
Right.
And it's not. We operate under the false presumptions that all it takes is a admiration and a like and a strong feelings, and oftentimes young people are confusing possessiveness with love. Like you want to be around them all the time, and it's really you just goddamn are feeling good. It's like anybody who's ever worked customer service knows it's easy to give a good customer service. It's harder to give somebody who's riled the fuck up good customer service, right? If you're really good at customer service, you can handle a disgruntled, surly, upset customer. And that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where things fall apart, is when you don't have good conflict resolution skills. When you don't have good communication skills, good listening skills. I hate to keep bringing up the military because really I'm anti-military. I was in the military, but I do not respect the war machine no more. But when I was in the service, they taught us how to do RVAV, and that's a question answering method. That's where you repeat the question, verify that you understood what the person asking the question was asking. Then you answer the question. Then you verify that they answer that they accept your answer and understand your answer.
Right.
Imagine if we did this when we talk to our partners. Imagine the arguments that we could preclude that sometimes end up to swearing at each other and calling each other names that is hard to recover from.
Right.
And we're younger, and a lot of us haven't seen our parents, maybe we got divorced and we don't have the model. And so, we may not know, but we falsely presume that it's easier than it is. And it's not. But when you get it right, god damn is it valuable. God damn is it satisfying.
Listen, so expectations, Hannibal, is it for a relationship or is it against a relationship?
So you know what? I'm gonna give you a two-part answer. One, my wife always says expectations lead to frustrations.
Oof.
Number two, the Buddhists
hold on. She should be on the show, not you. She should be on the show.
And then in Buddhism, they say the expectation is the source of all pain. If you leave all your expectations, you'll get hurt a lot less. But I do also believe that there's room for, if you've been with somebody for 10 years in a committed and married relationship, and y'all are listening to each other, I mean, you can expect certain things. Like I expect my wife to respect me, and she should expect me to treat her with respect. But what she shouldn't expect me to be is a goddamn mind reader,
Is it expect her or you earn the right for her to give you respect?
So, you know what? Of course, respect is earned. It should always be earned. There's a minimum. See, I think, some people, I get into it with some people, they say, you should, your kids, they deserve respect too. And I say, my kids deserve civility, love, and parenthood. But they don't deserve the same amount of respect that I deserve, because I'm out here making adult sacrifices.
Right.
I've earned the right for you to not talk loud in my goddamn living room.
Hold on, pushback. And I say I do this all the time. I don't give 80% of the things I say, but I gotta give pushback for sake of conversation. Your children, I'm glad you brought it up. Next question. Expectations of children in a relationship and behavior with the parent and child dynamic. You said, like most parents, you expect them to, you don't think they should expect respect from you because they're not making adult sacrifices. But here's a rebuttal for most children would say, I didn't actually come in this world. How do you respond to that?
If I heard that, I would probably say no, you didn't. But if but I brought you in. I brought you in, and now that you're here, there's a lot of magic, you know. So there's a lot of good stuff here. And if you listen to what I got to tell you and teach you, then you'll be able to access all that magic. And you're not gonna be
Mm.
able to do that if you loud talking me in this house where you don't pay no damn bills.
I like that. I like that. Mayat, I see you smiling. I think you're about to take that. What would you think? Children's expectations of parents and their treatment. Parents and their expectations from their child of respect. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, I have 4 kids, but two of my girls, my girls, they're very vocal on how you, especially my youngest daughter, she's very vocal on how um she she says things like, that about how we should or shouldn't be treating her. Not that we treat her wrong, but I never really heard a child say, I don't think children think that way. I haven't um what did you say? I didn't ask to be brought into the world. I don't think they think like that because they
Some
want to
kids,
be here.
some kids say that
Um
when they're frustrated, though.
oh, okay. Okay.
Maybe not your kids because they well behaved, but some kids say that.
Okay.
Well
But
balanced.
I think I do agree. I agree with that. I think that in a sense we do. It kind of depends on what you consider respect to be, but at the same time, like, I think even with marriage, like, I don't think you shouldn't be marrying someone you don't already respect, for one. So there is a level of respect that you're going to give that person because you're married to that person. But
Hmm.
when it comes to kids, I think I agree with that. I mean, you don't pay any bills, and you're in our house that we pay for. And I tell my kids all the time, like, respect where you're living, don't leave stuff on the floor and don't pick it up. Like, respect your home, respect that we are paying the bills for you to live here. So, it's a level of respect that should be that should be given to them, but it's more love and attention and giving you those things that
Right.
you need to become a valuable adult and a valuable community member within our community, as opposed to, because kids and adults are going to look at things differently. What they deem as disrespect or not being respected is going to be different for us.
Hmm.
Right. Hanifa, answer that question.
She's muted. There you go.
Peace, everyone. You want to
Peace.
ask it?
Sis.
Okay, so I'm not home and I'm on my cell phone, and then when you press the link, there's a spot for silence. So can you repeat the question again for me, King?
Okay, we're talking about the expectations that children have of the treatment and behavior of their parents and vice versa.
Mhm.
And we know that children nowadays might not have the same level of respect that we had for our parents. So, is it warranted, and how do we deal with it in a respectful way? Because they could say to you, "You're my parent. You're supposed to take care of me. You don't want me to call ACS. You don't want me to call those things. You don't want me to call me. You don't want me to call the Bureau of Child Welfare. You're supposed to take care of me." It's just their expectation almost leads to entitlements. So how do you deal
Mhm.
with expectations and the behavior that's associated with children as a parent?
Oh, honestly, and this is just hopefully no one takes offense to this. I've worked in child welfare for 12 years,
Mm.
and I have two sons. And I was a child myself. So, from my observation, what I always say is we try to tackle these type of things too late, right? Because when you're talking about when children start to talk like that, they're about maybe 10, 11, depend, maybe younger. So a lot of nipping this in the bud has to start in the very early stages, right? Respecting children, allowing them their voice, but in a respectful manner. I know with my son, he's 9 now, my 9-year-old, I actually started to get nervous because I come from a home environment where we got whooped. I chose not to whoop my child, right? I don't believe in it. So, and I also believe in giving him space to question, to explore, to inquire. And one of the things that I started to realize when he would speak to me is, okay, you can ask me things, you can give me pushback, but it has to be in a respectful manner. So
Right.
then now I had to shift in, there's no problem with you inquiring. There's not even a problem with you pushing back on something that doesn't make sense to you, because we don't always make sense to children. We just don't, because they see the world very black and white oftentimes. They don't know about nuances. They don't know about all that gray area.
Hold on, hold
And
on, hold on.
so,
I'm
mhm.
sorry. Can somebody give me a subscriber? I'm at 6'6". I don't want to see the third number. Give me another one. I don't like that number. Can you give me a subscriber, please? I don't believe in numerology, but just give me one more to
That's
make me
actually a
simple.
good number.
I know. 12, 18 equals 9. I get it, to be born. I get it. But let's get that number out of here, please. Thank you. Sorry, Anika.
No, you're fine, King. And so, no, what I was saying is that I had to realize that I had to have the conversation with him around, one, respecting elders,
Yes.
because that is important. I don't care, you're going to respect your elders, okay? It doesn't mean that, because you might hear elders say the sky is yellow, and as my son might be like, no, it's not, it's blue. And so if the elder continue to say it's yellow, I have to tell him at some point you're gonna have to let that elder have it, and then you and I could have the conversation behind closed doors about the sky being blue. Okay, you do not go back and forth with that elder. You're like that, so teaching him that. I think that we catch these things, King, we have to catch them really, really early on.
Mhm.
A lot of it is, and I've seen this happen even with my own children. We
Mhm.
have to understand that a lot of these programs that we are allowing our children to sit in front of,
Mhm.
it is modifying their behaviors. It is programming them. I dealt with it with my 9-year-old because he, you all know I co-parent and I don't control what goes on in his dad's house. But one day he came and he was talking to me about something, and I had to tell him straight up, them little children you watch on television, you don't have those parents. You don't. That's not
Mm.
the type of parents you have. So
Right.
you cannot say certain things to me. You cannot ask me certain questions. But again, you have to catch this real young. And I say that because I've seen teenagers, and we could get into that conversation. I've seen teenagers disrespect parents. I mean, in terrible ways. And I see all the adults, they clutch their pearls, they get so offended, they start name calling the child. And I'm always the one to say, this child didn't fall out of the sky. This child didn't fall out of the sky. This child didn't just overnight begin to disrespect their parents. There's a lot of things that led up to that. And what happens oftentimes with us in the Black community, and I'm sure some of us have experienced this with our own parents, it's very difficult for parents to take ownership of where they drop the ball. It's very difficult. It's a conversation that we run away from. We don't allow the children to express themselves because all we want to say is, I kept you alive. I fed you and I clothed you, and that should count for something. We don't care about all of that other stuff, all of that other ray, but it's important to the children. So when we see children disrespecting adults, like you said, King, somebody missed something somewhere. Somebody dropped the ball somewhere.
Yes.
And the reason why we don't want to sit at is because we don't want to take accountability for it. That's just my take on
You
that.
know what's crazy? I don't know, Hanifa. You must be sent from heaven if there is a heaven, but if there's one on earth, right? And I want
You
to say,
created.
oh God, I love my come on, my let me get to, come on. Can I talk? Can I be on this realm for 1 minute before we go to another realm? No, I don't ever think I don't agree with you. This, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the fourth Horsemen. Let's get them on stage. So what happens is, this is a great segue to our main topic. Every time someone expects something from you, and then you tell them, please, I'm sorry, forgive me, I'm gonna get it right. It buys you more time. People are starting to use forgiveness as a weapon to prolong the inevitable in a relationship. People are weaponizing forgiveness to persuade people to stay in a relationship or stay in a situation or stay in a job or stay within a community toxic mindset. We as a people have to find out why we are using forgiveness as a tool to help have individuals stagnant. So I'm going to put out the pros of forgiveness, and I'm going to put out a chart with the cons of forgiveness. I want you to use this in your argument to the people on a panel with the questions I'm going to ask you. And I'm going to take you down a rabbit hole, and we're going to come to a solution about, is it worth forgiving people, or is it worth standing your square? Because a lot of times people do something will violate you, lover, job, children, community, and they tell you to forgive them because they're still learning. And they're perpetuating that abuse. That abuse. Some people get kicked off networks and they call you to come back like they did with me. If I didn't stand strong, then I'll be back in a relationship, an abusive relationship, when someone doesn't respect you. They're weaponizing forgiveness and remorse. So we're going to talk about it after we examine the chart. Let's get busy. We're here to get to a solution. This is a solution-based conversation. Let's go. You know, my skills with this computer is nasty work, but we're gonna get it right. It's nasty work. All right, pros of forgiveness. Pros of forgiveness. This is what they use. It's a weapon. Healthier relationships, improved mental health, less anxiety, stress, hostility, lower blood pressure, fewer systems of depression, a stronger immune system, improved heart health, improved self-esteem. Let's talk about the cons. The cons of forgiveness. The cons of forgiveness. And it goes, 1, urgent forgiveness ignores the fact that the anger naturally rises after being hurt and often needs to be integrated, not rooted out like some bacterial bone illness. 2, encouraging people to let go of anger before the natural course of its process is suppressive and harmful. Come on, talk to me, black people. They tell us to forgive for slavery. Come on, we gonna wait for Hannibal. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there later. We're gonna get there later, Hannibal. 3, counseling people to forgive when injury is still recent risks dismissing the pain people are going through. Some people tell you to forgive and forgive just to speed up the process. They don't want to deal with it. They don't want to process the moment. 4, advising forgiveness can ignore the value of confronting an offender. Don't talk to him. Don't just forgive him. Let it be. 5, the appropriateness of advising forgiveness depends upon who is asking whom to forgive. We almost went to war last week with 2 horsemen because of forgiveness. 6, advising forgiveness or letting go to groups of people who have suffered sustained injustice is often ignorant and highly suspect. Hannibal, Mayette, we're gonna get down to the nitty-gritty. We're gonna get down to the nitty-gritty. So I just want to have those things as reference points. Terry, get on stage. Get on stage. You're my favorite Korean in the whole wide world. I love you. Get on stage, please. Get on stage. Because we need to talk about forgiveness. Because Terry actually she believes in the art of forgiveness, even though she is a rebel. So it's weird because of her fiery disposition, she tends to forgive. Maricela is a person, she forgives you, but when she stops forgiving you, it's over. It's over. So forgiveness in relationships. Hanifa just left. I wish she could come back. We love you, Flower. Come back. Um, who wants to start about forgiving your lover and how that was probably used as a weapon? Ooh, see, put your hands there, Mike. As a weapon. As a weapon. You ready for that question, Hannibal?
Oh yeah.
All right, go ahead, brother.
So the thing is, first off, and I just, I got this note I just made. To me, forgiveness is a gift that don't everybody deserve. Okay. You from the city, you from New York, city, in the city, you hustle. There's a hustling energy that people in the country may not know nothing about because it's harder to get by in the city, sometimes. And when you know the hustling, you know that you can use forgiveness in a way to manipulate.
Right.
And that's why I made a note here. I said everybody doesn't deserve it. The penitent deserves it. The faker does not. So a person who is sincere in their remorse and is sincere about turning away from their deviant act and demonstrates that through action, they might deserve forgiveness. The person who says, look, I just blatantly disregarded your humanity, right? My bad, please forgive me. And then they do it again 15 minutes later. Please forgive me. Please, I'm sorry. I don't know what's gotten into me. I had too many drinks. And then you say, okay, I forgive you. 15 minutes, they do it again. They're a faker. They don't deserve your forgiveness. But if a person demonstrates that they have turned away from their deviance, well, and they've demonstrated it clearly for the injured party to understand and accept, well, then forgiveness should be a conversation, because anybody who would ask for forgiveness from somebody, if you won't give it, then you should never get it. If I can't give you my partner forgiveness, then she can never give it to me, because balance. There must be balance, right? Ma'at is balance.
Yes.
Right? The principles of Ma'at are rooted, and for those who don't know, that's a Kemetic, that's Kemetic, right? We ain't gonna go too far down that. But the point is this: if I should expect forgiveness in the future, then I must give it, but it's a gift and it's only for the penitent.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right. Right. Next, Maya, I think he gave you alley-oop. Weaponizing forgiveness in personal love relationships. Talk to me. Have you seen it been done before? Have you done it before? Talk to me.
I mean, I think we've all done it before. I think
Are
we're
you a
taught.
Sigma? You a Sigma E? Okay, go ahead.
You missing
We
you
have
missing
been
the whole
taught.
conversation, man.
I'm sorry. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
We have been taught. We've been taught that, right? We've been taught forgiveness, forgive others, forgive people who kill your family members, forgive. But I mean, the thing is just like I agree with Hannibal. We don't. If someone is showing you who they are and they continue to do the same actions over and over again, like why are we continuing to forgive that person? I mean, in my eye, it talks about, you what you don't do something to someone without a just cause. So if you have a just cause, then and you are, in my eye, it's about yourself, it's about judging yourself. So if someone, let's say someone kills your child, right, do you not have a just cause to go and do something to that person, or do something because they have done something egregious to you and your family? And so when it comes to relationships, you have to be mindful of what that person is doing. How are they hurting you? Are they continuing to hurt you over and over again? And at that point, if somebody apologizes to you and you forgive them,
Right.
and it's like, how many times? And the Bible teaches you what, I think it says 70 times 7, whatever it says, I can't remember. But the thing is that we have to look deeper within that, in the context of what that is saying. And you can, Ebach or a chef, you could tell me if I'm wrong with this, but is that saying the same thing? If they're doing the same thing over and over again, are you supposed to forgive that person if they're showing you 70 times the same action? So a lot of times people are forgiving men, or vice versa, men are forgiving women, and they're showing them the same thing over and over again. So someone cheating on you, and they're continuously cheating on you, do you forgive them and continue? Because then what are you doing to yourself? What is that saying about yourself? What are you telling yourself if you're allowing those things? If someone is speaking it to you in a certain way, if they're verbally abusing you in a certain way, and they're continuously doing that to you, then what is that telling you about yourself? So it's more about yourself than it is about that other person. Because if you're allowing certain things to be done to you, and we as Black people, we allow certain things to be done to us because we don't have that confidence, it's in that pride in ourselves. You don't see other cultures letting things be done to them over and over again, and us being able to, and then we continue to turn the cheek. We don't have any more cheeks left. So we need to have that confidence in ourselves to say, we're not going to continue to let these same things happen to us over and over again. And I know we're talking about relationships. So my answer with relationships is, if they're doing the same thing over and over again, just like Hannibal said, no, you don't continue to forgive that every if they're showing you who they are and that they don't care enough about you. But it's more important that you care enough about yourself to not continue to let those same patterns happen over and over again.
Right. Okay.
I agree with my
Daryl.
Yo, let me say something real quick. First and foremost, I do apologize. Your boy Chef been up almost 48 hours. And when I get into my thought process, it definitely does expend some energy, right? But we're going to make some laughs, and we definitely going to put this one in the blooper reel, right? But, in terms of what we're going to take and what we'll accept, one thing that I do believe is that we have to pick our battles. We have to pick our battles in terms of anybody. There's something that I tell my lady, there's times when she sets an ultimatum, but she tells my daughter, if you do this, this is going to happen, right? I normally say, don't do that. One of the reasons I say don't do that is
Turn the lights up.
I know the generosity of her heart, and I know her sensitivity, and I know that's her only child. She's lost, pregnancy before, and I understand what my daughter means to her. So I recognize that that's not going to take place. If you do this, this is going to happen. I know who she is. She wants to utilize it as a tool to preempt, something my daughter would do. But in the end, I know you're not about that life. When somebody's heart pumps Kool-Aid, especially if they really, really, really love somebody. So when you put those ultimatums, sometimes if you actually make those statements and you don't do anything, what potentially happens is that it will enable another set of behavior. Because now, if she tells my daughter, you do this and this is going to happen, and then you don't make that other thing happen,
preach,
then she's going to actually look at those parental threats as futile, and they're going to be innocuous. Google innocuous, basically having no impact, having no effect, having no effect. So at the end of the day, you have to really be specific, and you have to measure and fight your battles in terms of what you're going to bring to the table. And if you're going to utilize or put something out there as some point of accountability or some weight that you're going to put on them, you need to do it when you say you're going to do it, or shut your mouth. Because now when you make that threat the next time, it means nothing.
And that's how I feel about Chicago Rilla. All right, Terry, please talk to me.
Hello everybody. Happy Thursday. I'm a little different, perhaps a little odd in this regards to forgiveness. I don't believe in forgiveness. If that makes sense. I mean by that is, who am I to forgive you? I think that's coming from entitlement. That's how I look at it. I don't look at any events in my life. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I haven't. But at this stage of my life, I look at everything is happening with me. So if I feel a certain pain, distress, anything like that, I take it as this is a lesson for me to understand what is the purpose that I'm dealing with this. So instead of looking for forgive or not, I'm seeking the lesson. If that makes sense.
Right.
So that's how I approach with any misalignment there is to it, any distress or anger, and so forth. As you stated, King, that yes, I have a lot of emotion and charged, and often it comes very direct. But in order to understand those emotions, we need to start looking into what is the intent of that emotion. Where is it coming from? Is that whether it's a material or immaterial? Is that from entitlement? Is that because you want more, you desire more? Should you work for it? And then also comes to relationship. A lot of people say, yeah, we have to know ourselves. Absolutely. But do you really put that much work on yourself to know yourself? I mean, let's be honest. When was the last time you took a time, be brutally honest with yourself, understanding your flaws and why that is, how can you improve that is? When was the last time you actually invested time in yourself?
Right.
So let's start that question and let's evaluate that first before we start preaching. Yeah, you gotta know yourself first before blah, 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 Jay. So that's the challenge that I like to take everybody on. Like, it's okay, it might be 20 minutes, 30 minutes, really. That's why I run.
Right.
That's the only reason I run. It's not about being fit or any of it. It's my mental state. I really want to, know about myself. And the longer I run, I know I learn about myself.
Right.
So whatever way do you do it, I think that's where it comes to. So I don't believe in forgiveness. I think that's coming from entitlement. And I'm not saying in a bad way. Please don't take it wrong.
So Black Chef, how do you feel about that? Georgie, how do you feel about that? Forgiveness, is it weaponized within relationships? Because I personally do. I personally really do think that people are not really sincere with their forgiveness.
So yeah, let me step into after Hannibal.
At the risk of and I don't want to interrupt the flow, but this is important to me, and it occurred to me while you were talking, Terry, that for me, I asked myself, how do I define forgiveness? Yeah. And I found when I reached up here, it was foggy. So I looked up the word forgiveness, and it said something to the effect of like not holding, ill will, or basically like being willing to give somebody pardon. Then I looked up the word pardon, and it said to release a person from punishment or disfavor for wrongdoing, to allow an offense or fault to pass without punishment or disfavor. So Terry, again, no shade of disrespect, but how do you define forgiveness?
Yes, good question.
Forgiveness. That's interesting. And perhaps that's why I said I don't believe in it, because if I believe everybody's existence, there's a purpose. For instance, if somebody caused me pain, distress. So I forgive him, as we call it, right? So that I don't hold the grudges, so that I can have a peace of mind. But does it really though? You're trying to make it feel better or able to move on. Often that's usually our agenda. Don't get me wrong. I went through that too many times, to be honest, in my opinion. But in order to find true peace is understanding the purpose who caused you pain. That's why I'm saying it. I don't believe in forgiveness, because that kind of puts me in a sort of like, you did this to me. But believe it or not, maybe you did this for me without understanding the purpose of existence. Such as King exists with his people. Without people, he cannot exist, right?
Right.
So there is always two sides of a coins, right?
Right.
So when we say certain words, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is not a matter of judging using the word. It's just that I want you to just give it a thought. Let's go even more deeper. Any bad instance, distress happens, I look at it as there's a purpose for it. That individual is fulfilling their purpose in order for me to gain knowledge or experience or growth, whatever that might be. We may not understand at this situation because the emotional gets involved. Of course, it's natural to have something happens to you in a negative way. It's an obvious natural thing to have that negative emotion. But I'm saying is, I'm encouraging everybody, acknowledge the emotion, but looking at it in the other way. Perhaps the negative thing that we believe to be is supposed to be there fulfilling a purpose for you to grow. So there's nothing for me to forgive the persons about. They're doing it their purpose for me to grow. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm answering you. And if I'm answering you right, I'm not sure.
That makes sense. But I'm not there yet.
I'm
not there yet emotionally. I'm not there yet.
So I got a challenge for
everybody.
Oh
no, I'm not. Hold on. Let me clarify. I'm not saying that I'm there, but I'm putting effort to looking at in directions that way, so that by the time when a significant instance occurred, me being practiced every day for a little instance that distract me, then I'm able to level up and handle it. If that makes sense. That's how we going to level up. You cannot level up in one instant and you are next level. That's why I said consistency is your character. And again, knowing yourself, it takes a consistent effort.
Right. So Hannibal, your rebuttal?
So I don't necessarily have a rebuttal, but we're talking solutions, right?
Right.
So at the risk of being presumptuous, I would challenge all of us, and especially the viewers, especially the younger people, especially people who are new to committed relationships and long-term relationships. I would challenge y'all to do this. Be very intentional and specific in your definitions for these serious notions, like forgiveness. Like if me and my partner exist in this space where forgiveness is a factor, then let us define it clearly. Let me say, wife, beloved, what does forgiveness mean to you? And how important is it? And is it in line with what I think? So if you need forgiveness from me, then what does that behavior look like on my part? You know what I'm saying? Because if for forgiveness for one person might mean you don't bring the shit up no more. But forgiveness for another person might be, you might bring it up, but you don't bring it up too much. And forgiveness for another person might mean you know, like I like this word in this disfavor. Like I will forgive my fathers, my brother, my wife, the people closest to me. I will work harder to not look upon them with disfavor when I feel injured. You know who don't get that kind of grace?
Who?
People like the motherfucking United States of America.
We're gonna get there. We get there.
Okay.
We're gonna get there.
Because guess what? You haven't apologized or made restitution
Right.
for goddamn separating family.
But save that because we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Because you know I want to fucking go there.
Yeah, I know.
But I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait.
Let me make my piece on this.
Hold on. Darrell, I'm glad you're about to say something because I want to put you in a hot seat right now, and I'm glad Brother Clarence is here. Question is: does forgiveness need to be fair? I mean, does it need to be sincere? I'm asking you a question. Yes or no? It's a yes or no question because I gotta get you in the hot seat because Brother Clarence is here.
I still want to elaborate after I answer your question, right?
Of course,
to answer the question directly, absolutely, right?
Okay, hold on. Brother Clarence, Chef, do you believe when Darrell forgave the other network, it was sincere or he did it out of respect for y'all? Because he still got the fire in him. Was he really sincere about him forgiving them for how they trespassed against them? Or he did it because to keep the peace? And I believe he did it to keep the peace, but that's not sincere forgiveness. And so one little thing could make him go left.
Hold on. Let me say this before you go, bro, Clarence. I never forgave them.
Oh, I thought you forgave them.
No. I never forgave them. And bro, Clarence, he here so he can speak to this. I said, I'm only here to sign a treaty because bro, Clarence and other kings asked me to.
Right.
I specifically said before Anton came up, I said after Anton came up, no matter how many smart words from my nigga, I'm never going to change my mind about you.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So I never forgave them. And let me just go before Brother Clarence, before you go, because I got to say this. A lot of dudes, they want us to treat them like flowers. My forgiveness for rocks don't work the same way it works as flowers.
That's a good point. I want to talk about that.
You know what I'm saying?
So we show more grace for women than men.
I do. I do, especially the woman that I'm with in a relationship with. Absolutely. Because to me, how can we call ourselves? We shouldn't call ourselves, kings. We should just call ourselves queens if there's no fucking difference, right? We all queens. Right. But there is a fucking difference. And that's why I just don't like, man, is because, even with the situation here, I haven't forgiven shit. But people ask me, Darrell, could you move on? Could I? Sure. But the problem is the way that I move with forgiveness, you got to earn that.
Right.
You must earn that. You can't just say, I'm sorry. I betrayed you. I fucked you over. And I'm just sorry.
What about coming to someone's show and saying, great show?
No, that was disingenuous, because then you go back on your show today and the very first thing is you talking about, we not like them. We don't get spicy over here. It's like, bro, how many times do we got to take the leash off y'all neck? We let y'all go. Y'all keep coming back to us. To me, I think you want to get beat down. And I'm at the point where with them specifically, y'all done. I think y'all just want to attach yourself to us because it's getting y'all views and getting us views, but y'all done. I'm done talking about y'all. Y'all grown men. I'm at the point where people like that meet me in person. Like you said, you know where I lived at, meet me in person. And that's not for, that's not the Four Horsemen. That's just me.
Right.
The problem is just, we got too many men that walk around doing fuck shit, acting like fuck niggas, right? And this is what they do. They smack you in the face, and then they run around the corner and say, oh my God, he chasing me. Yeah, I'm chasing this nigga. He just slapped me in the face. Right? That's what these men do. They can't come to us like men, apologize, say what's wrong with them. They got to wait months later. Right? I'm not just talking about just one situation. There's a lot of men that move like that. Right? How can we solve issues if Hannibal come to me and say, hey, Brother Long, we got an issue that needs to be solved today. And 6 months later, I finally talked to this nigga. No, bro. Look, man, for me, and I wouldn't forgive that. If me and Hannibal war, if we blood brothers and I say I need you right now and you not here, there's a consequence for that. I'm not forgiving you either. Because if Hannibal might lose his family in that battle. I'm just saying, man, we got too many men that want to be treated like flowers, and that's a problem. That's all I got to say about that as far as forgiveness.
Hanifa, Georgie, Mayat, and Brother Clarence, talk to us.
Well, I think y'all talking about a subject that's actually a science. There's a science to forgiving people, and when you forgive someone, it's not for the person that committed the offense. Forgiving someone is for you. Let your mind go so you don't stir over it and make yourself, you burn over it. It also has the side effect of forgiveness is the other person being able to feel like you don't have a preconceived or pre-cooked attitude toward them. Now, in the course of forgiveness, that doesn't mean you open yourself up for the same offense to reoccur. No, you take precautions so that it don't happen again. But to forgive someone, you cannot earn forgiveness. Either you're going to forgive someone or you're not going to forgive us. I believe in a higher power, and I don't believe that higher power, we earn that higher power's forgiveness for our evil deeds. I mean, we just don't. So that higher power has to forgive us using another kind of scale somewhere. And it must be, hey, I just forgive you because I know the kind of situation you're in. All right. So that's the way I believe. And I don't expect everybody to believe the way I believe. But what I'm saying is forgiveness is a science. And a lot of people think, oh, if I forgive this person, that means I'm opening myself up to have them violate me again. No, that's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is you are moving to the next level and showing them, hey, you don't have to stay the person that you are, but I want you to move up to the next level, especially the closer into your circle they are, the more you're apt to use forgiveness. Especially, let's say last night you guys were talking about infidelity. Okay, if you're going to be with somebody in a long-term relationship, 20, 30 years, man, people are going to make mistakes. Maybe not infidelity so much, but they're going to mismanage money. Something's going to happen. Nobody's perfect all the time. So are you not going to forgive them? Are you going to stay with them and keep that bad blood there and keep that attitude there so that it's always that strife? And pretty soon you guys just grow apart. That's what I'm saying about the forgiveness, man. It's you really and the last thing I'm gonna say about forgiveness is there's a line of demarcation. There's some things that you can do that put you outside of the realm of forgiveness. When you violate a person so far that puts you outside of forgiveness. Now, either we got to put you to death or put you out of the society. We got to do one or the other. So that's what I'm saying. So, but this is a science. We have to learn this science so that we can stop abusing each other, saying, I ain't going to forgive him, but I'm going to forgive him. I ain't going to forgive this person. I'm going to forgive this person. And we're not using this science properly. It's like an atom bomb. We use it properly, we can get nuclear fission. But if we don't use it properly, we can have Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Right. I think forgiveness comes from people basically do forgiveness on a scale. I could understand what Darrell said. Forgiveness for a man and a woman is different. I respect that. I get
Why?
it. No,
why?
My reason or his reason? My reason is that I show a little more grace to women that I'm in love with than a woman that I don't know, right? Because
you didn't say that, brother.
The reason I say that, I made a commitment to that person's growth.
Okay, so
that's why.
Well, excuse me, King. What you said at first was is the difference between a man and a woman.
No, I didn't finish my statement though. I said okay, yes, I said I like what Darrell said because it's a scale, right? He forgives women a little bit easier than men. Like you forgive your child when they say something disrespectful more than a child you don't know. Because you after somebody you don't know, you walking away. Like I'm not dealing with this. I got my own children to deal with, right? So that's how I look at it. But my issue is people that forgive people because they have more power. You got people that get abused in other networks, but when someone else they think that doesn't have power says something to them, they don't want to forgive you. So someone could talk about you and your family and everything, but when we come over here and we crack a little E40 joke, you ready to go wild. You understand? So you can't. You. What is it? Or I'm asking you. Do you forgive totally or holistically, or or can you have a scale? So that's a question for Hanifa and Mayat as well as you.
I have a line. I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna go on, and then I'm gonna let you go. I have a line, and if you cross a certain line of social norms, then I can't forgive. Like you do a certain thing to a children or something like that. There's a certain line. I can't forgive that. I'm not going to put you back in the presence of children anymore. Once you do something like that, once you show me that you can't be trusted, or you attack my wife or something, I'm not going to put you back in that situation again. Now you crossed a line of social norms that we can't have you in the society anymore. We got to put you in a certain place, or we got to remove you. Period. Okay, so that's
hold on, brother Clarence. I just want.
Yes,
it's a few things I want to just like talk about here, because it's not that I don't disagree with you, but a few things I just must address. The first thing about us coming at people for different social stuff. Let me make something clear, because I just don't agree with that. Right? We're gonna get into the America conversation later, but people tell us all the time, don't burn this place down, don't do certain stuff that they did to us. And I just don't like this, man, because I'm just gonna speak on it. I'm trying to be around the bush.
Let's wait to get there because that's the end. We got to talk about the community at the end. Let's wait to get there.
I'm about to talk about not the community. I'm talking about personal people.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And this is not reflections of everybody up here. This is me. You can't be somebody in our community, brother Clarence, who making fun of women, making fun of your co-hosts, talking about physically violence against women. And I ain't seen nobody up here except me checking people on that. People make sure to check me on. Don't make sure you say nobody's wife is ugly. Nobody said, let me do a video to find Anton talking about somebody kicking women in the chest. But I did. Nobody made a video talking about how these dudes was coming up and telling these women to shut the fuck up. But I did. You understand me? And the reason why I went at them the way I went at them so harsh is because you can't come to me and say, please don't treat me this way when you treating everybody else in my community the same way you ask me not to treat you. Which is why I would have a problem with anybody defending them, but not going against the actions that I clearly have told y'all over and over again. I would never go against Hannibal family unless I seen Hannibal out here slaying women and children. He better not speak to me about his family ever again. It's all.
Why would you go about his? Why would you go at his family? If his family is innocent people,
the way Clarence, the way I play in war is different because.
But his family's innocent, brother. His family.
That's why I said I would never go at them unless he was doing the same thing. It's like if I'm going to war with Hitler. If I'm going to war with Hitler, I'm not about to act like an innocent angel. I'm not about to do it. You can.
I hear you, brother.
I'm not.
I hear you, brother Darryl. I hear you, brother. But his family is innocent. See, I'm Islamic, so we only want the guilty party. We don't want innocent people. We want the guilty party. That's where I'm coming from. And maybe everybody's not like that. So I'm not trying to push you into that, Darryl. I know you, brother. I'm still working on you. God still got me working on you, brother. But I'm just saying.
We watch our women be kidnapped. We watch our women be hanged.
Wait.
Before we
go there, Hanifa, talk to us about forgiveness and how it's so a sensitive subject, because people don't know who to forgive, why to forgive them, and sometimes they forget why they even forgave them in the first place, and the anger is still there.
Good question. Okay,
Hanifa, you're on mute.
Hey, okay. Geez, there was a lot said. I was really not trying to come behind all the fire Darryl be putting out, but as we would talk, as I'm listening to you guys, and specifically what Terry said, I took that into perspective as well. One of the things that came to mind is how the foundation that we set around forgiveness. And what I mean by that is, I think a lot of us, the way we understand forgiveness is coming out of a lot of Abrahamic religions, specifically Christianity. So there's this fear of hell that's attached. And so if there's a fear of hell that's attached, then there's an emergent need to forgive, because life is not promised tomorrow, right? So you don't need to be holding on to, you need to forgive immediately. And that's problematic. So for me, if we're going to have the conversation, we need to tackle it from the roots right?
Yes.
Because the roots is where the problem is. This idea of not allowing space and time and grace for people to process and heal before forgiving is problematic. Because then when they so-called forgive, they're not really forgiving. It ends up being very performative, right? Because there's a fear of not being looked at as you dirty, wicked person who cannot forgive. There's that fear that's attached there. So when we're talking about it, I'm looking at it from the roots. Let's dig it up from the roots. We're talking about it on the surface right now, but there's a big fat
George, can I take you, hold on, George, can I take you down for a minute? We got somebody trying to come on stage. Let me take you down for a minute, please. All right, whoever's trying to get on stage now. Georgie, I'm sorry, taking you down. I took you down, bring you back up, but it's a line outside the club. It's a line outside the club to come. That person's trying to buy a table. Please forgive me, brother. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question, Hanifa?
Who's coming in? Coming now and bring it back, Georgie. Thank you.
Of course, Dara.
In the way that our great leader, my brethren, Dr. Martin Luther King, in the way that he was murdered in Tennessee, if I committed the same crime against any former president now, anybody, a senator, right? If I go away 20 years, 30 years, will the American people, if I come back, forgive me?
They will not.
Right. But see, that's what we do. Our kings get killed and hanged. What do? Pray. Nothing.
Well,
no action.
Hold on. Let's keep it outside of that. Let's bring it back to black men. When we talk about a situation, black men saying, I don't want to forgive you because you're trying to make me weak so you could destroy me. But it was times you did forgive. Like last night, I saw it, Darrell. You said, and I have it, you said, Chicago's a real one. He talked to me. You said Chicago, you said we squashed this treaty. But then they did what they did today. You're going to go to war. Fact. And I was trying to tell you, I don't believe none of these people. Don't believe none of them.
I came into it like that, though, right? I came into it like that. I said, I'm not trying to forgive. But, bro, I got bro Clarence, and I got all the OGs. I got Chef. Everybody saying, forgive. I'm saying, why? Why can't we be men and go 30 seconds fist to fist, and then whoever come out? We can't do that. That's why I said we got to act like flowers.
Wow.
Wait, Darrell, if I could say something.
Chef never said forgive. I just want to make sure we got that clear.
Neither did I.
Chef never said forgive. Sorry, Hanifa, I apologize.
No, go ahead.
No, please. No.
I was just responding to Brother Clarence had mentioned something in response to when Darrell talked about Hannibal. Peace, Hannibal. I know we haven't met as yet. It's good to see you here, brother. Hey, Terry. He mentioned his family and taking out his family or something of that sort. And Brother Clarence's response was, why? His family is innocent. I am sorry. I am a recovering Christian. I was a Christian for all of my 20s. And immediately when people talk about what God would want, I'm like, you mean the same God that wiped out man, woman, and child?
Speak on it.
And said, because we don't even want your lineage to continue. This is the God we're talking about?
Speak on it.
So when
not the God I'm talking about, but I mean,
perhaps I'm just saying this is in you guys. I mean, in their history book, which we will say the Bible. It's
the Holy Bible.
And now I know people jump, and I'm not. This is not a religious debate. I'm just mentioning that because I did have a reaction to it, and I usually do. You know, when people talk about, forgiveness with using God in that sense. And I'm like, no, like you did an offense to the people who we consider his people. This is the Bible. He's like, wipe them out. Do you not know there were children amongst them?
Yes, he did.
So when we discussed that, I just had a reaction to that, but I just wanted to finish my thought around the forgiveness piece. We really need to tackle this from the root. Why is forgiveness mandatory? Why is it such an emergent thing? Why does it have to happen right after the offense takes place? Because the reality is this, King, if you wound me, I really can't forgive you until that wound properly healing. Because every time I see that wound, I am going to remember. Every time I feel the pain from that wound, I am going to remember the hurt right? How you hurt me. So I'm big on allowing people to heal first before we start introducing the concept of forgiveness. The issue with us is unforgiveness makes us uncomfortable. We want Daryl to forgive because it makes us uncomfortable.
Right.
Is
right. That's why I said I know he want to go to war, but he's making amends because he keep on saying, "Yo, I talked to Chicago. We had a conversation, so he's cool with me." He's not cool because when he came on here, he said, "Great show," and then afterwards he said, "Stop taking our talent and do your own thing."
He wasn't talking about me, was he?
Clearly he was.
Because let me tell you something. Two things, and I'll be brief, and I'm gonna try my hardest. First off, I'm over here because these conversations take place over here.
Thank you.
From what I've seen, these kinds of conversations, they have layers and take into account complexity, cognition, social norms, social dynamics. I don't see those conversations happen over there. You know what I'm saying? So that's first and foremost. Okay. Number two, I'm so glad that we are talking about the religious layer, because who more religious than Black people? No fucking body. And the fact is, there's power in it, but there are problematic elements.
Strong.
There are problematic elements, and we have to address them. For instance, and I am not trying to disrespect nobody's religion. My heroes come from the religious traditions. Malcolm, Farrakhan, Elijah Muhammad, those are some of my heroes. I would never throw shade on religion. But I do know that, like Hanifa said, you know, this religion thing was used against us. We were encouraged to be meek and forgiving so that we could be controlled during the Ma'afa.
Things fall apart.
You know what I'm saying? So we can't remove our history, our history from the notion and the concept of forgiveness.
Right. They said,
you know,
they taught us Christianity and they taught us how to pray. And by the time we got up from prayer, our religions and resources were taken.
Right. They gave us the Bible and left with the gold.
And I had this conversation last night. I want to add this in.
You know what?
Hold on. Like, because you're a Christian, you got to talk on this. And this is not a Christian thing. I'm just saying, my thing is, I want us to help identify what are real what is a real forgiveness, because people come into this network and this channel and give compliments, but then give backhanded compliments and say negative things when we're trying to have real conversation.
Yeah. I got a question for Hannibal.
Hold
on. Just real quick. It'll be real quick. Hannibal.
Yes, sir.
Why do you believe when we were coming to this country as slaves, right? These people had the ability to drop an atomic bomb in the 40s, right? So that means they were working on it for a long time. Hold on. This is super quick. It's super quick, King. Just why weren't they teaching us about engineering, technology, math, science, how to be a fucking swordsman, right? How to create swords, how to just do so much. They taught us everything that had to do with the Bible. They didn't teach us nothing else, right? They had schools, they had Harvard, they had a lot of institutions that was there a long time ago. Why do you believe the only book that we were allowed to read and pick up and congest in our brains and our souls was that book, while at the same time they're building atomic bombs?
So they could control us and keep us meek and mild. That's it. Okay. Like I tell people, I sell a shirt that's called Righteous Indignation. It says, even Bible Jesus went ham in the temple. Yeah. Nobody wants to talk about the Jesus that flips tables.
Right. Chase people out of the synagogue. The wrathful God.
Come on now.
Let's go.
I think if Jesus came back, he would be whooping ass. He'd be like, y'all are not loving your neighbors. My commandment was simple. Love your neighbor like you love yourself. And love God. Y'all ain't doing that. I'm whooping all y'all ass like I whooped those money changers' ass in the temple. That's what I think.
Okay, that's a quick answer. We gotta go to E Black, but I want to say if Jesus ever did come back, I think he'll come back as a boy-headed African with a luxurious beard. Anyway, let's go.
Well, and he will be in conversations with King.
Yeah,
he would come back as Hanifa.
Right. He might have hair like locks like mine, but you know, we ain't gonna.
Yeah, but seriously. And E-Black, you are the most forgiving person I know. You forgive me, you forgave Anton, you forgive Chicago Gorilla, you forgive.
I don't forgive Anton. Fuck that dude.
We're gonna get to that, but E-Black, you forgive. So why do you forgive all of us the same? Is it really because of your Christian faith, or is it because one, is it your Christian faith? Two, the opportunity to maximize the movement on YouTube, or three, you really don't get what's going on? I gave you three options. You pick. You let me know.
I would say it's because of the one. Basically, as a Christian, you got to be like this. God displays grace, right? And through our grace, we're able to show other people how to move and operate. People, we talked about how African Americans got here, and the fact of the matter is this: without our grace and our forgiveness, we would be burning this stuff down. But through our grace, we're showing the injustices. Through our forgiveness, we're showing how other cultures should move, how to get justice, how to get opportunity, how to work with your government system. So whether people want to believe it's the right method or not, we're still far vastly ahead of a lot of countries. And that
But
may
look at
be
the
some
result.
No, but what happened? Let's stick to the people
Okay,
first.
we can talk about that later, but we can talk about that later. But I think forgiveness is about showing grace. It's about exposing the flaws of your enemy. Not only that, forgiveness allows you to disengage from the aggressiveness of your attacker. If you forgive somebody, you no longer have to equally respond with such harshness to get the result that you feel is favorable. And it goes back to the grace thing. As long as you have grace, you're always going to be on the righteous side. Also, it clears the path from rage. If you don't get forgiveness, if you don't have forgiveness in your heart, there's only going to be built up rage, and then you're not able to prepare. How many times have you seen somebody walking themselves into a rage of a situation because they did not forgive somebody and then they were unprepared? See,
I agree.
When you forgive somebody, you now can sit back and you can examine the whole landscape, and then you can attack when necessary in appropriate manner. But when you're only using rage, and you're only using eye for an eye, and you're only using taking cheek for cheek, I'm telling you, it ain't gonna work.
E-Black, you have a
God has
question.
told you
Go
that.
ahead, Maat. Go ahead, Maat.
So my question would be, what about our ancestors who did strategize? What about our ancestors? What about 1804? What about them who did not only were enraged but also strategized? So would you say that the right technique would be to strategize as well as and still have that rage against people who have oppressed our ancestors, and we're continuing to be oppressed? Because I mean, we can't say that we're the token people who are showing others the right way to do it, when even if you look at Haiti, or even if you look at Jamaica or Ghana and all these different places, when you look around them, it's just them. They at least they have a piece of something. We have a piece of nothing. So would you say that the right strategy would to be to strategize as well as be enraged against people who are continuously showing you what they're doing?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you could definitely have strategy, but
Oh,
like I said,
hold on.
you
Thank
can
you,
have it with
Maya.
grace.
Thank you for saying that. She's saying instead of forgiveness, we should strategize before we go into rage. You're saying forgiving someone gives you time to calm down so you don't go into rage. All right, so
I disagree.
that's premeditated.
I disagree with that.
Okay, hold on. Let's read the question though. Rico had a good
I mean,
question,
okay.
and this goes with Mayat said. How do you forgive intentional harm? This is not making one complicit in the harm. How do you speak out against a harm or forgive it in the same breath? It's either right or wrong, correct. Right?
Same thing.
So my thing is this. How do you forgive an intentional harm? I can understand you forgive someone who made a mistake, and hurt you. But when it's intentional, like we saw this weekend, a lot of intentional, premeditated harm happened this weekend. A lot of intentional, premeditated harm that happened to E. Black. A lot of intentional, premeditated harm that happened to Hannibal. How do you forgive that?
So I wanna speak to that. Look, and I got my Red Bull, yo. Just put it on me trying to stay up. 36 editing videos. I got a video for y'all last night.
We forgave you, brother. You good?
Thank you. No. Listen, we're gonna put that one. We're gonna put that one with the other Easter eggs on the chef blooper videos. I'm balanced, but you know, life is real. So listen, man. It's like you asking me, how do I get Chef to fly when I want him to? Forgiveness, yo. Forgiveness is something that is real. Forgiveness is a biblical thing. We may want to try and elicit forgiveness and forgive people, but do we really have or possess that true capability to forgive somebody, man? Honestly, right? So while we were talking, because I want to make sure this is always some sort of learning experience. If you Google define forgive, stop feeling angry or resentful towards someone for an offense, flaw, or mistake. Right? So what that means is it's gone from your emotional purview. It don't exist anymore. It don't hurt you anymore. It doesn't. And when I use the term don't, I understand how to use proper syntax and grammar, right? I'm just being dramatic. That shit don't bother you and touch you anymore. So what I believe is that we use the verbiage of forgiveness prior to us actually feeling that we forgive that person. There's another definition of forgiveness from Merriam-Webster as well. Here's the kicker. Used in polite expressions as a request to excuse or regard indulgent one's foibles, ignorance, or impoliteness. So that's the request of forgiveness. Either way, to forgive is an emotional thing. It's the chalkboard of your heart. True forgiveness is actually taking that eraser and deleting that transgression so it does not negatively impact you. So what do I believe about forgiveness? I believe forgiveness is real. Do we possess the ability to forgive? Yes. I do believe that we as humans, we apologize, and we apologize to folks, and politely they give us remorse because they feel that they're supposed to within that quid pro quo. You receive an I'm sorry. You receive I apologize, OG. You receive I didn't mean that. And within the quid pro quo, society expects you to forgive. But society throws something on you when you don't. The thing is, real forgiveness requires deletion of those feelings from your emotional purview. And if it happens, you're not able to forgive. So to me, that's the equivalent of you asking me to fly. I have to be real with that. And I have to go through a process to allow myself the 5 stages of grief to forgive your ass.
Right.
I have something to say to that, Chef, and I'm about to go, guys, but because I'm not home. So here's the thing, and I've processed this over the years because I am a Aries through and through. I am loaded with fire, and for a very long time, I have sort of like condemned myself for that fire until I realized that I don't need to get rid of my fire. I need to control my fire. It is my fire, right? I feel the same way about anger. Here's what I think about anger, because Chef, it's funny because I looked up the definition while you guys was talking, and I was like, oh, so their definition is that if you don't release the anger, technically, if you're still angry, you haven't forgiven, right? But the truth about that is sometimes anger is the fuel that you need, right? Because here's the reality. I cannot defend myself against you if I am not angry at you. If I'm just sitting there in submission and subjugation all the time and turning the other, and I only got two sides of my cheek, and I ain't even about to turn the other cheek too, because you slap me, I'm slapping you back. That's it. Period. Now,
but hold on, I'm sorry, that meant something else though. A lot of people think turn the other cheek means do it again. It actually means, if you look it up, it means I dare you. It means I dare you. I forgave you once, but I dare you to do it again. That's what that meant.
So I'm about to be done because I'm gonna leave, and then once I get home, I'll definitely try to see if I can come back and if you guys are still on. But I just wanted to speak to the anger part because I think that a lot, and again, I think it depends on how you're looking at it. I do understand forgiveness, Brother Clarence, Brother E Black. I believe in forgiveness as far as cleansing my energetic field. That's how I look at that. Because I do believe that when we hold on to hurt, it begins to bring disease in the body. Okay? I do believe in that. So I do believe in cleansing myself. So when I forgive, it's not about you. It's not because somehow you have better yourself. It's not about me reconciliating you and our relationship. My forgiveness is a very selfish forgiveness, right? It is about my well-being, about my health. It's never about the other person deserving it. There's nothing that you can do to make me forgive you if I don't want to forgive you.
Thank you, Sister Hannah. I said that when I first came on, but thank you for agreeing with me.
I want to be clear. I'm not saying I'm against forgiveness. I'm just saying that there's a place for the anger that's rooted in unforgiveness. Because the reality is this: if I'm on the playground with you and every time you see me, you tripping me every single time, okay? And I'm coming back and I'm saying I forgive you and I forgive you. At some point, I'm gonna have to push you down the slide so that you could stop tripping me when you see me on the playground.
That's rage.
But in order for me to push you down the side, I have to allow for that anger, because the anger is the fuel that makes me do that. There is nothing, we talk about anger like it's a bad word.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be. It's about how you utilize that anger. Now, to have it sitting in your body and festering while that person is gone about living their lives, that's poison. That's toxin. And I am against allowing toxins to sit in our body because of a wrong that was done to us. I'm about self-care. I'm about health. I'm about us making sure that we are functioning at our best. And carrying hurt and so forth is not you functioning at your best. But don't get it twisted. My forgiveness is a very selfish one. It is not about you. It's always going to be about me.
Right. So, Brother Clarence, why did you, and maybe I was wrong, I thought you was trying to make Daryl forgive the situation. I know that's why I said I was wrong. You said you didn't say forgive, but I felt you were pushing the young man for peace.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm sorry, I didn't. You were pushing him for peace when basically, based on Hanifa's, this is not my opinion, but based on Hanifa, he needs this rage to correct the situation. Is that correct or wrong? Is that right or wrong?
That's wrong in this situation. In this situation, in my opinion, that's wrong. Now, I never told Daryl, hey, Daryl, you got to go forgive them. You got to go lick their behinds and go over there and, and just embrace them. No, what I said to him was, we need to get past it. We need to move it. We need to move on. Let's shake hands. Let's move on. Let's put whatever differences we got down on the table. I never once said, hey, brother, the brother stepped on your toe. Just forgive it and then let it go. I never said that. Because my theory was, you guys got such a better product coming up. Your product is, and it's really, if you guys just play your cards right, you're gonna just ease right past them. So my thing was, why get into a back and forth with them when you could just get past it? And next thing you know, they're trying to get on your show. So why even go back and forth with it, especially over something that was said? Now, if they show up to your front door, you think I'm asking you to forgive a man that shows up at your front door unannounced? I ain't trying to tell you to forgive nothing like that. What I'm saying, I ain't even trying to tell you to forgive this man here. In this situation, I was just saying, this is a business situation, and sometimes you got to just do what's expedient in a business situation. It may not be expedient for you to start a war like the mafia. Blood's going to cost you a lot of money. So if you want to go ahead and get into it, you can get into it, but you're holding yourself back. So what I was trying to tell Daryl is, hey, let's just move forward. It's going to be better on his end, going to be better on your end, and then you got a better product. You're just going to move right past them. So you don't need to get into it.
Can we talk about the people who have family members who were murdered, right? And then they walk into the courtroom and they forgive the murderer, right? That's not for the murderer. That's for them, so they don't have rage for their death of their loved ones. And then you see the murderer cry because the murderer then
sometimes
realizes.
You see him laugh, black.
But okay, but
right.
We see you, Hannibal. We see you, Hannibal.
But that's beyond.
Wait. Hold on. Let me say this, E-Black, and I'm gonna let you finish. The purpose of forgiveness is so that you can let it go, like you said, E-Black, for you can let it go, because there are going to be times when you can't reach out and touch the offender. You can't. Yeah. There's nothing you can do. Like you said, if somebody comes in, they violently kill one of your relatives. It don't matter if they, like Dr. Collins used to say, you can kill them, bring them back, kill them again, bring them back, kill them again. It still ain't going to be enough killings for you to rectify it in your head if you don't let it go. If you don't let it go, it's gonna eventually eat you up, and you're gonna be sitting in a psychiatrist's office. Yeah, that's why a lot of our people
that's what I'm trying to say. That's what forgiveness is. And Hannibal, you can go next. That's what forgiveness is about. It's about showing the grace, showing the mercy that you're not going to equal their retribution for you. You're not going to carry their faults against you.
I just don't like you. Hannibal, real quick. I don't like calling that grace. To me, that's called cowardice. But okay.
Can
I say something after Hannibal?
Hannibal, then Mayat. But I want to say one thing. I agree with Darrell in the fact that if someone violates me and tells me to forgive them, I think they think I am soft, right? And now, for you to violate me, first of all, you should never violate me in the first place. That's number one. But then tell me to forgive you in order for you to violate me again, then I become soft. You see, the reason why I respect Hannibal, because he did the same thing I did. When I felt the violation, they called me back and told me to come, and I said no. No. Because the first time you made a mistake, second time is my fault. Hannibal, your turn.
So my comment is going to be a piggyback off of what Hanifa said, also what Brother Clarence said, and what E. Black said, because we've discussed this notion that forgiveness serves the person who forgives. And I do agree with that to a degree. Now, what I'm going to say, I'm going to preface this remark with this. What I'm about to say is focused on interpersonal relationships, like that which we have with our spouse, fathers, siblings, and friends. Because my philosophy on how to deal with them is totally different than how to deal with my open enemies, right? With the government, with the state.
Thank you, Hannibal.
Okay, so what I say is this: forgiveness does serve the person who forgives. It serves the self, but the ramifications of forgiveness involve other people. Now, here's a case study on that. Because the forgiver, their forgiveness and the nature of their forgiveness informs their subsequent behavior. So here's the case study. Me and my wife were beefing, as you know, people argue, and then, we seek the counsel of my dad and our elders, because that's what you ought to do. They've been here before. They know what's up. And my dad saw that I was in the wrong. He felt I was in the wrong. I disagreed. He took a harsh position with me. And I felt injured by that. I felt hurt to the point to where I was about to be like, man, F dude, I ain't talking to him for a while. And then so a day later, I said to myself, was it really that deep? Was my injury that deep? Was my injury that profound, such that I would cut off one of the most important people in my life? I had to go inside myself and say, how much do you value your relationship with your father? is burning this bridge? Was the injury commensurate with burning that bridge? And the answer was no. So I had to look beyond the injury and judge his intention, judge who he is to me, and know and ask myself, did he really mean to harm me, or did I feel harmed because of my bias and my personal disposition? So the forgiveness helped me to move beyond that and maintain the relationship that is so very valuable to him and me and my wife. You see, so we forgive and then we feel better, but the forgiveness also informs the next steps. And the next steps is where we take into account and the others, our counterparts, our spouse, our brothers, you see what I'm saying? So it's not purely about us. It's about how we behave with these people who are important to us. Does that make sense?
That goes back to what I was saying. It just shows grace. It displays grace.
For how long though?
Well,
Can I
let
say
me
something?
Sister Maya, you going to go? Go ahead, Sister Maya. I'm sorry, because I know you've been waiting.
Oh, okay. So yeah, just something I want to talk about a few things, but so I want to read this definition because it comes from, I believe in looking at definitions from an etymology standpoint because they do try to trick us with these words. So when you look up forgive, etymology says give, grant, allow, remit a debt. It also, Old English means give up, but this is the one I really like. It says, this is Old English, late Old English, and it says to give up desire or power to punish. So that kind of goes back to what Hanifa was saying. So you can either give up that desire, that would be not necessarily in the sense of how we think of forgiving, where we think, oh, we're forgiving this person. They do, we go into all of this, what we consider forgiveness to be, but to actually give up the desire, it doesn't necessarily mean we are forgiving that person in the sense that we know it of today, but we no longer have that desire to hold that grudge against that person, or you have the power to punish that person. So when it comes to like what E Black was saying about somebody being murdered and that person is um that person that person forgiving that person in court. The reason that that is happening is because we don't have a proper code of conduct.
Right.
So because we don't have a code of conduct, we are allowing these things to happen in our community. And back to even what Hannibal was saying about it being someone your family. So you're more willing to forgive someone you're close to, but when it comes to people in let's just say our community, where we're talking about two black men who know each other, and whether they should forgive one another, it comes to what is going to be helpful for the community. Is you not the fact that you don't want to forgive, or the fact that you might not want to deal with this person anymore, is that going to help your community, or is that going to hurt your community? When
Right.
it comes to forgiving someone who murdered someone in your community, forgiving, is that going to help your community, or is that going to hurt your community? Because what's going to happen? Are they going to think that they can continue to do these things to the people in your community? Obviously, yes, because that is still happening within our community. We are
Yes.
still seeing black men getting shot. We're still seeing black women getting kidnapped and killed. We're still seeing these things in our community.
And they want to
So,
forgive them all.
right. So we
You-
continue. We go in the courtroom. We're crying. We forgive them. But is that helping? But if you are holding a grudge, if you're holding a grudge against E Black, and E Black is holding a grudge against you, is that helping our community, or is it hurting our community? So we need to get real about who are we forgiving and not forgiving.
Right. I firmly believe in most cases, not all cases, forgiveness is synonymous with acceptance.
Hmm.
If you forgive certain people, you're saying, I accept that behavior. Do you know once again, I use it, when I got sentenced, the judge said, you are not a criminal. but I would have to give you a sentence. You could forgive someone and still punish them.
Facts.
This is what's happened. That's why they feel comfortable kidnapping our women. They feel comfortable doing certain things because you got nobody out there doing nothing about it. They feel comfortable. When I was walking today this morning to go and get something from the CVS, I saw one Asian man and a one Asian student arguing. The guy was in her face. A heavy-set Spanish dude got out the car and said, "Are you okay?" That young Asian man stopped screaming on that Asian woman because he knew there was repercussions if he continued. To the point that the woman said, "No, we're okay." There needs to be a sense of consequence that comes after aggression or comes after violation. I'm not saying do something, but they need to know that if you do this to me, then something might happen to you.
But it has to be within,
it
has to be within the social construct. It can't be you can't be raped. You can't kidnap somebody else's child because they kidnapped yours.
So don't put words on.
It's not kidnapping another child. It's doing something to the person who did something.
Exactly. See, this is what I'm saying. I never said that. That's taking it far left. I'm not talking about you. I said punish the person that violated you. So, for example, that network, when they did what they did, and we said, "Nah, you can't do that to black," they move a little bit different now because they thought that you didn't have anybody. They thought that you didn't have anybody, but now you have you got a new team. So we have to really start putting this air of there is a consequence if you mess with someone. If they know that, they're not going to try you. People are letting people get away for violations because you don't try them, and this is why forgiveness too early, not checking the situation early, can lead to problems.
You know,
I agree.
There's no such thing, bro. There's no such thing about forgiveness too early. I don't believe in that. It's forgiveness, and there's not forgiveness, and it's plain and simple. If somebody asks for my apology and I tell them I forgive them, I'm either truly forgiving them. One, I'm either wanting to forgive them and assuming the ideal of forgiveness on my soul, which I really don't have the capacity to truly forgive them. That's one. So I'm deluding myself. Or three, I'm just telling a lie and I'm just lying. Okay, we could even add 4 or call it 3.5. I'm giving a fake ass apology so I can lay in the cut and serve my revenge cold and eat their food. You get what I'm saying? And there's a difference. The difference is there's ones where we're deluding ourselves and there's ones where we're lying to the other and trying to placate the other and make them feel, rock them to sleep. So when we talk about forgiveness, there's different kind of forgiveness. It's not all forgiveness. Some of it is on face value. Because if I tell the world, look, that's what the mob guys do. They're like, yeah, we love Vinny. We love Vinny. They give Vinny a kiss on both cheeks. And then on Tuesday, no more Vinny. So what forgiveness? Is it real forgiveness?
That's the code of conduct.
Right. Here's the thing, though. People call me balanced, right? I'm not really balanced. All I'm doing is sharing what I share, what I use to contain myself. So I'm not really balanced. I'm just sharing my personal therapy with this complex, weird ass mind that I have right now. You get what I'm saying? I'm sharing it with you guys. The thing is, when it comes to me, I understand my levels of forgiveness. And for the record, if I know that I lack a capability or capacity to forgive a certain person, which I have, this is me. Fuck that. Hell no. Okay? And I'll be more like the king that y'all understand. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, I'm not going to give, let me clarify. I'm not going to give an apology unless give forgiveness or show forgiveness, unless one, I really am at that point where I forgive that person, or two, I'm gonna make them lay in the cut so I feed that revenge and eat their food after that. Those are the only two reasons. So when people say that, I'm being balanced, not with this one. I'm either telling you the truth or I'm coming to get you. So when other people, that's why I don't play that forgiveness game. It's heavy. When you say that you forgive somebody, you get what I'm saying, and then you behave like a bold person, or you became, you act gangster. It's not true forgiveness. Forgiveness is a display of humility. Excuse me. Let me clarify it. Remorse is a display of humility. Forgiveness is also a display of humility, where you're putting aside your personal feelings, ego, and pride to allow that person to grace when you know that you can crush them in some particular way. You feel me? But it's either going to be real or it's going to be fake, and there's going to be consequences. So that's
no. Hold on. Gemini has to speak because she hasn't spoken at all.
Sorry about that,
apologize, Chef. My bad.
Hey,
no, you good.
No problem. Hello everyone. I really love the perspectives that I've been hearing tonight. I do want to add this, Daryl. I did not know that I checked out your channel and I saw, I think, a video where you were talking about the way that Anton was speaking, I think, to Kay. And of course, I support all the channels because I support just Black people, period, especially when I see them doing positive things. And I start seeing a difference in behavior with the way that Kay has been being treated lately. And I
why.
really do believe it is because of you. So we need people like you to stand up and speak out. Also, King, I really enjoyed the dynamics between you and Anton when you were on the show, because it was like you was always looking and listening and was always checking, and it was like you were the one that was keeping him in balance. Hannibal, you were hilarious on the show. Um, I mean, you were like just awesome on the show, but how the way you kept your composure, how the way you still stay on your course as far as your train of thought. So I enjoy all of you all on there. Um, with that being said, Hanifa, when she was talking about this forgiveness thing and that fire, and that resonated with me, because I think that you should only forgive when you are really, when you have really been fulfilled as far as this person really showing that they really, like really are sorry or apathetic towards what they have done to you. I don't believe in, saying that I forgive a person unless I have received the justice. So I do believe in that. So that's all I
Right.
have to say.
Gemini, if
Thank you,
someone
Gemini.
Thank you,
Gemini,
sis.
I had a woman that came on here that held me down when I was incarcerated, and she essentially took took some money from me, and I could I don't I can't she said, would you ever forgive me? I said, yeah, after you pay back the money.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
What, how do you expect me to forgive you for nothing? And our Black people are doing that with this capitalistic society and this Eurocentric society, where is that we're forgiving them and they're not being compensated for the transgressions.
Exactly.
It doesn't work like that. And
No.
on an interpersonal level, how can you forgive someone that plays you in public but tries to apologize in private? Like, what are we, or send someone else to apologize? Like, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about here?
See, King, I don't even think it's real. A lot of times when people say that I'm forgiving, I forget. Like, how can that be true when you just did this thing? Like for an example, y'all know I've already shared a little bit, but like my mom, you know, it's a lot of stuff that she did, and it's just like, yo, like you knew better, you know, like I can't look past that. But everybody would say, well, you know, that's your mom, you should forgive her, this or that. But it's like, but that impaired my life. That created an imbalance in my life. Yes, I can eventually forgive, but I would never forget the what it did to me. You know, and that's the thing. It seemed like people want you to forgive so that you don't hold them accountable for what they have done to you. And
Accountability.
accountability is key.
That was really good, Gemini.
Oh yeah, that accountability piece is essential.
I would like to throw something in there. When you forgive someone, it's not that you're not holding them accountable anymore, and it's not that you're opening yourself up for further violations. You're just letting it go from your mind so that you can move forward. The byproduct is that person, you igniting the remorse, like Chef was talking about. You'll ignite that process in them if it's there. Sometimes it ain't there. Some people are just bad people, man. Can't do nothing for them. But if that person has any humility or any goodness in them, it might ignite the remorse situation in that person, and they might come around.
Can I ask you a question, Brother King?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Darrell, not you, but Darrell and you, both of y'all used the word parlay, and I was familiar with the word on another level, but I went to look at the word in regards to nations, and it was confirmed to me by Chef that when nations parlay, it's only for two powerhouse nations to parlay. A nation that has power over another nation will not parlay with you.
Facts.
So when you tell somebody to have a parlay, you're essentially saying I'm on your level. So if in regards to networks, let's be like frank. Nobody on this panel on their network on their level in regards to subscribers and views. Right. So they have no real reason to parlay with us, right? I don't want to parlay. I'll make that clear. I don't never wanted that, right? But they're not on our level of talent and content. So I get why he might say, okay, you have to parlay with me. But in their mind, I'm thinking like the opponent. They don't think they need to talk to you, or they don't think they need you to forgive them because you're not on their level in their mind. So how do you feel about that concept?
Then they run around begging for us to stop talking about them, though. Fucking cowards. Fucking cowards.
I'm trying to get a psychological, you know, like I'm trying to get a psychological thing about it. Like they don't think they own the, you know what I mean?
So well, you're right, and what they see is an inferior. They see somebody with less ability to defend themselves from their attacks. Maybe this, I can't speak for them, but I'm just supposing. Right. Maybe that's how they feel. Is they feel like, hey, these guys, they don't have the subscribers that we have. They don't have the following that we have at this point. This is the only point we might be able to strike them, and then not be able to strike back because they're building a following every day. And once they get to a certain point, when we hit them, they're gonna hit us just as hard. So now is the time for us to hit them because we don't, you know, they're just building up right now.
But they can't hit us openly because it will look like bullying based on where they at. So they hit us indirectly.
Well, I'm saying what I'm saying is just internet wise. I don't believe anything that they could say could have any effect on any of you guys. I just don't. I don't believe. I know you guys, you know, take it personal, some of you, but I don't see how what they say has anything to do with you guys. They're in a whole separate lane. You guys in a whole separate lane. So I don't see how they could affect their subscribers. Are never going to come over here unless they're coming over here to play, and your subscribers are not going over there because they want to hear the truth. So it's not, and that's to say they don't say the truth at all over there, but it's a lot more entertainment over there than it is. Like over here, you getting the raw truth. You got cats like Hannibal, Chef, King, Daryl, E Black, and all the other ladies that's gonna tell you the truth. Everybody seems to be telling the truth with respect. A lot of times you don't see that over there. So anyway, that being said, I feel like they are doing what they're doing now because you guys are not at the level of subscribers and daily followers yet.
I disagree.
I
think they did
what
what
I
they.
wrong about,
I think they decided to start waving the white flag because what they are right now, for anybody who watched NBA, they was Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. We Michael fucking Jordan. We coming up right behind y'all, and not just that, we taking the whole fucking legacy from you. Period. That's why Gemini Thoughts just said it, and she's not the first person who told me this. They start treating K differently. Why? Because my foot was on their neck. Why? Because I was exposing the kind of men that you should not be listening to. Right? This is why, brother Clarence. It had nothing to do with all that stuff you talking about. It's about the fact that they knew if we don't shut this nigga Daryl up, sorry, let me not use that word. Sorry. If we don't shut brother Daryl up, he gonna keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going.
Push back.
Right? So we need to do everything he can. If that means get into his inner circle, no matter what it is, we need to do everything we can to stop him. Because if we don't stop him, we will fail. We will become the Targaryens, right? Our dynasty will die.
I disagree with you, Daryl. I believe they look at you as a threat. I believe they look at you as a threat, brother. But I don't think they look at you as that. I know, but I don't think they look at you as that serious of an issue at this particular point. Now, I think at some point they realize your following is growing and you will be that big of an issue. But I don't think they look at it that. I think they just look at it right now. They just look at it as they can go to their followers and pick up. They can find. They got somebody they can push around to their followers and say, "Look, we're bigger than them. We can push them around right now." So to me, that's the
they have the type of followers that is okay with. They have the kind of followers that's okay with men saying it's okay to kick women in the titties, right? And we are the men that's going to keep everybody in line over there. The followers, they guarding everybody.
Well, they're gonna roll with whatever those guys say over there. They're gonna roll with whatever. It doesn't matter what they do. It's like Jim Jonestown. They're gonna roll with whatever because they're not following the truth. They're following the personality, and so they love the personality more than they love the truth. So they'll follow that, even if that person is telling them something crazy like I will do some type of violence to a female. They'll follow it because they will, in their mind, break it down. Oh, he's just playing. He's just this. So that's what I'm saying. This platform has the potential to, and they know it. They know it. It has the potential to really kick him in the butt. So they're trying to get you guys now. Now you guys got Hannibal. Ay. Okay, so now it's really lit. So and then you got my ad, and you got you got so many different angles of thought, which they don't have there. Is everybody pretty much echoing one person's thinking process.
No, they got E40. He got a couple of hits.
You know what?
Nothing like what you got over here. Nothing.
Yeah, E40 got some hits.
You know what, brother Clarence? I respectfully disagree with you on this one. I really, and I'll tell you why. Okay. I listened to Daryl's video. See, Daryl is a very passionate guy. He's young. I love his energy. He's very passionate, and he's one of these people that when he see the stuff, like a king, when he see the problems, he's gonna call it out. And I don't care if he has 2 people watching, because Anton, in my opinion, like I said, I listen to all the platforms, and I like all of them. But there are some things that I don't like as well. But Daryl is one of these guys that we can put in the category of the police officer, making sure that stuff stay in order. And when we talk about a think tank, we need a variety of people. Like, for an example, this platform, of course, I like King Dynamic, but when I saw E-Black, and of course, I've seen E-Black make several comments on the Lapeef show, but I respect E-Black. He's a Christian. Even though I'm not a Christian, but if he's on this platform, I see this platform as being credible. Everybody else I'm getting to know. Like my aunt, I like her. I like her perspective on things. Chef, I'm beginning to learn about him, and I like his perspective. So what I'm saying is that Daryl, even though it doesn't take a big giant to knock down anyone, it can take a small ant to tear down something. So that's how I see Daryl. Daryl is the enforcer. his voice is being heard, and changes are being made. And we need people like that.
Daryl carries the fire.
I never said that.
Daryl, you're on my
Daryl is
purge
great.
team.
Oh,
Thank
Daryl
you. I'm honored.
Daryl is never. I never said Daryl wasn't necessary and his fire ain't necessary. What I'm trying to do as an older guy is to try to keep Daryl from going off the rails. I got to catch Daryl every now and then. Daryl's my dude, man. So this ain't nothing between me and him. But I got to keep him from going off the rails. You know what I'm saying? Hey, whoa, Daryl, whoa. Well, because I know Daryl would just light a nuclear bomb and just send it. So I got to say, whoa, Daryl, let's make sure everything is correct before we send that bomb over there. You know what I mean? So don't, you know what I mean? It's not that I don't think Daryl is. I think Daryl is wrong about what he's saying. What I'm trying to do is get him to guide his energy into a way where he can get the most bang out of his buck. That's all.
Brother Clarence.
Sir.
Darrell. Oh, by the way, because there was some confusion. So I'm going to speak to the confusion. Some people call him Daryl. The only reason that I call him Darrell is because I had seen the video where he had his little sister and then his cousin Phoenicia on there, and they were calling him Darrell. So once your mama and your family call you a certain name, so I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it from them. So for the record, if you wonder why I was calling you by your government, Darrell, it's because I heard your sis and your cuz say that on one of the previous videos. So I was like, yo, I'm following with the fam. All right. So one thing I do recognize is this. When I speak from a certain level, I speak from a certain level in terms of understanding King. I speak from a certain level in terms of understanding Darrell. When I speak to Darrell, he has fire. Yeah. He is gunpowder. Yeah. He is flammable. He is flammable energy that can combust. He requires an OG or somebody with a certain level of refinement to take that powder, that gunpowder, and fashion it into a bullet to be able to reach a particular trajectory so that it's not just boom fire. Because one of the things we understand in diplomacy, especially when you're talking about diplomacy with larger nations like us, Russia, China, and some of the other powers, the number one, just like when we say when men talk, when kings build, right? We build in a certain way, but we always understand that we have to have a certain degree of respect when we build with kings, because there's always a low-level threat of violence, because we are primal beings. Right. Same thing when it comes to situations with diplomacy and war. We don't just pop off with Russia, with China, with the other superpowers. Why? Because we all have nuclear munitions. And then there's the MAD theory, or scorched earth theory, comes into place. MAD, M-A-D, stands for mutually assured destruction. This planet, did you realize that this planet, it takes not even 4 nuclear bombs to go off on this planet to wreck the planet for eons. So mutually assured destruction is one of the main things that is the underlying factor or impetus for us trying to utilize diplomacy. And in doing so, we have to understand that. So yes, we have fire, but at some point we have to fashion our fire in a specific way, just like when we rage against a machine and we have riots, but then we're using that fire to burn up our own shit. We have to fashion that power. And sometimes it takes precision. Sometimes it takes being a little more polished, sometimes it takes a little bit of patience in terms of understanding your enemy. But with mutually assured destruction, that creates scorched earth. So, and it will hurt us. It will hurt everybody, But you're about to drop something, Hannibal. Talk to me.
So I get the sense that we're ready to talk about the implications of the community.
Yes.
Forgetting.
Can I chime in just for a second? Just quickly, I wanted to say about the difference between this show and the other show. And I like what you said, Brother Clarence, but I will respectfully slightly disagree. if you really want to know what I think, I dropped my comments earlier today in the True Pill Garden because I saw some of the nonsense that was over in the other space. And I listed what I saw as the glaring differences between this platform and the other. And they're huge. And I can't believe no one here has spoke on it. Because as I said, you know, we deal with conversations in a thoughtful and intelligent manner with the depth that it deserves. And I call what they do over there is verbal twerking. You know, they're just also a lot of foolish before
They busting it wide open.
I'm
They
That's a
busting
stealing
it
that
good
one
open.
from you,
analogy.
Rico. I'm
it's
taking
if
that one from you.
you guys need to engage a little bit more in the True Pill Garden. So I'm gonna give a shout out for the True Pill Garden because it's good. I've been trying to do some good stuff over there, but we need to get that a little bit lively. But there are some glaring differences where, as I told you before, King, the authenticity of what you created is so important.
Thank you.
I don't see you out here hustling for collabs, trying to hustle for subscribers. So it's authentic here.
Right.
And it's glaring on the other side. So I just wanted to say that. I won't say anymore. Read what I wrote in the True Pill Garden.
I'm looking at it right now as we speak.
There it is. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Hannibal.
All right, Hannibal.
That's all right. That's all right.
Let's talk
That's
about
all right.
the community, please.
Okay, so you know, our community, we have a history that is unique, okay? And part of it is dealing with a lot of state violence. And I would put forth that we have incurred and dealt with more violence than we should have because we have not pushed back hard enough. We have exercised too much forgiveness. I believe this firmly, and I've believed it all my life. Every deviant act deserves a equal reverberation, just like a laudatory act deserves recognition. Because if you want to see a laudatory act manifest itself again, then goddamn it, reward it. If you don't want to see a deviant act, then smash it. Smash it. When I saw the victim's family of the church shooting in Charleston, when I saw them forgiving a fucking clown who didn't even ask for forgiveness, I cringed so hard. Let me tell you what world I want to live in. I want to live in the world where we appeal to the system for justice, and if they don't give it to us, we fucking take it ourselves. Because guess what's going to happen? I've seen the law exercise restraint, and I've seen the same members of the same department exercise brutality. So when you demonstrate to me that you are capable of restraint, but you choose not to show it to me, you're choosing not to show it to me because I haven't fucking taught you to goddamn show it to me. Now,
I got a question.
Real quick, let me finish. Let me tell you the world I want to live in. I want to live in a world where brothers say, we're all on duty in the reserves, okay? If they kill one of our kids and justice isn't served, brother, you're that child's father. You're activated. And guess what? Go get that fucking justice. And if you got to take the bid, we're going to support your family in your absence. We're going to help keep you comfortable while you go upstate. But you're going to go and provide that reverberation. Because guess what? If you do, they'll think twice the next time they put their fucking neck on an autistic kid's, their boot on an autistic kid's neck, like they did to that boy in goddamn Colorado. And they do that with impunity because we are too busy in church trying to hug these fucking bastards.
Ooh, speak on it.
At the time for the hugging these people who are not repentant about their brutality, it was over 100 years ago, to tell the truth. To tell the truth, the time for hugging our killers was over 100 years ago. So that's my thing is this. I will work to forgive the hell out of my wife, my father, my brother. But these bastards who are demonstrating, that they don't have no respect for our humanity. Who I saw a guy smack a child in a daycare center, and he did it so casually. I said,
Yeah.
let that would have
Yeah.
been me. I would gladly go to Statesville. Gladly go to Statesville. Fucking try me.
Same.
And guess what? And guess what? My people will take care of my family, will get the support, and that motherfucker won't smack another black child. I promise you.
Promise.
Because I'm gonna give him the business.
My
I
God.
got a question for you, Hannibal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we are not forgiving our transgressors, then we got a whole, every city that each of us live in, there's an area where right now they're selling drugs right now out there.
Oh,
they
run them off the block.
Huh?
Run they ass off the block.
I agree with you, brother. I agree with you. So if we're not gonna forgive them, if we're not gonna forgive no one, then how come we not running them off the block? What is stopping us from not running them off the block? If we
Power.
That's a good question. That's a fantastic question.
That's a symptom too.
And
but why do you have? Well, hold up. Why do you have to run them off the block? Why can't you just give them jobs? That
you know what?
That would be forgiveness.
No. Hold on. Why can't
they got dispensaries all over America?
Why can't
you're wrong as hell.
Why can't we give them jobs that give them this allegedly the same amount of pay or the same amount of freedom? Like,
can I respond directly to that, King?
Yes,
we absolutely could, and that would be the first thing. But I've seen people who don't want to do the legal way. I've offered opportunities to people. I've said, come work at my shop. I have work for you. I will
well, how
pay
much?
you to
how
do
much you
labor.
paying them?
And you know what? But here's the thing. Like we talked about yesterday,
right?
You can't expect me to provide the same rate until we build up to the rate. You know, if we make full subscriptions to capitalism, then I'll never be able to compete because I don't have that capital base. So you got to give me time to build up my base, or else if you don't give me time to build up my base and pay you what you, maybe we'll get to the rate you need in 18 months. If you don't give me that time, then I'll never be able to rock with you because I'm operating at a deficit. You see what I'm saying? Like, if we're going to build with each other, we have to accept that it'll take a little bit longer to get up to market rates. We have to dump this market talk and focus more on community building, solidarity, and interdependence.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on if somebody comes and he does something to somebody from outside the community, does something to our children. We're not talking about forgiveness in those instances. We're not talking about an enemy comes over the horizon and you forgive them. No, we're not talking about that. We're talking about just our neighbor. And our neighbor is our person that kind of is in our circle, right? People on our street, people in our neighborhood, that type of thing, right? Probably going to look like us. So that's what we're talking about, the forgiveness. Our people are sick. They're not out here in their right minds. Some of them possessed.
For sure.
I was possessed.
And I made it clear earlier.
Wait a minute, hold on, Hannibal. Let me finish. I'm gonna let you talk because you're making a lot of good sense. But I just want to show you the difference between me now and me then.
For sure.
I was possessed, brother. I was under the spell of the demons of America, brother. And if God hadn't come to me and put his hand on me and touched me, brother, I would not be here, brother. I would have been gone a long time ago. So I know. So my work is different than everybody else's work. I'm the slave for the slave. I'm in the highways and the byways because I know there's people out there, man. There's good people out there that's just caught up. And so that's why I say forgiveness. If God hadn't forgiven me, bro, I wouldn't be here. And so I have to, that's my job. Now, that ain't your job. You, Hannibal, you on fire. You, Daryl, you guys are on fire. You guys are the fire starters. Like I talked about Dr. Khaled. That guy was a fire starter. He wasn't a guy talking about the solutions. He was just merely to point out the glaring hypocrisy and the problem. Then another man came behind him to talk about the problems. So maybe that's you guys' position. I'm here to just say, hey, forgiveness is not something that we can just throw around willy-nilly. It's a real situation, and we should use it as such. It's a science to be used to help ourselves, and if a side effect will help the offender, and maybe let them not offend another person. You don't know who you're gonna save by turning this person around, forgiving
Before
them.
Hannibal comes in, sorry to cut you up, brother. Before Hannibal comes in and tries to give a little tiny pushback to what you just said, and I like what you said. But I'm really standing next to Mayat in regards to strategy followed by coordinated reach, right? So what I'm going to say is this: clarity from Hannibal. When you say they, who are you referring to? Because you can't be saying white people. Or you mean because if you're talking about the government or the oppressor, sometimes the oppressor looks like us.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. I believe that nearly everyone deserves redemption as it pertains to our community.
Okay.
Because I wasn't always in my right mind.
Right.
And I understand why a lot of us sell drugs. When I talk about running people off the block and the people that I'm anti within our community, I'm talking about the killers. To me, the killers are the ones that are beyond redemption because they're in the most destructive state. If somebody's
Aren't drug dealers killers, though, brother?
Say what?
Aren't drug dealers killers by extension?
By extension, but
Rico,
not directly.
Rico, say something. Rico, say
not
something.
directly.
I gotta say something to this too.
Here's what I want to say. There are people who have sold dope, and yes, that indirectly it is abysmal. But I understand how they came to that because I know the history of this country and how they hoard resources, they hoard opportunity. They cut our people out of conventional employment channels. And a lot of people are making a decision of operate within the underworld and in the crime space or starve. And so these people are not directly killing people. That means they have redemptive possibilities. And I exercise empathy as much as possible. I've had Black people tell me to my face, I am not Black because I have a white mother. And guess what? My Blackness and empathy and love says, don't get too fucking upset because you understand where they're coming from. I've had gang members in my community fuck with my porch in my house, and I could have went out there with the 30 popper and let it rain and probably got away with it. But instead I said, y'all know me. I'm not an adversary. Get off my fucking porch, man, and chill out. I took the high road because I don't just jump to violence, because I love my people. I absolutely do. I will give you a fucking break if you deserve it, and if there's room for a break. The only people in our community that are beyond redemption are the killers.
I'm gonna say this, Hannibal, real quick. The reason, in my humble opinion, this is something that nobody has said. Let's just be honest about it. The reason why men like Meech and Terry and BMF and all these different dudes are on the block and the people who want them to be gone can't do anything about it because they don't have the power to. They do not have the power to. They don't have the gun power to. They're not. You only gonna talk to those guys one way. You only gonna talk to those guys one way, right? If you can't, if you unwilling to do it that way, you shouldn't even be talking about it because you don't really want to do it. If you really want those guys off the block, go get them off the block. You know how to do it.
That's real,
right? But while you do that, make sure you put money in those kids' pockets because they're gonna be coming to you for that, right? Every time they kid had to eat, somebody else make sure that they got some money in their pocket. Make sure that you're there for that because if you don't, they might become a wolf and eat you. That's a fact. And we got too many brothers. Hold on. This is not for you, brother Clarence. You like I told you, you solid. You solid. I know that you understand this, right? I know you understand this. You know what I'm saying? But the fact is, we got a lot of brothers, right? Right. I just don't understand this. This is not a shot at nobody specifically. If you feel how you feel that way. But how can we, in one breath, talking about I have to ask my woman to help support and feed me, but in the same breath we saying I'm ready to go to war with a kingpin and completely move him off the block? That don't make sense to me. You sound like a goofy just talking around circles.
Well,
Can I
brother
speak?
Darrell,
Right, Darrell,
brother
you're
Darrell,
talking
that's
about
not what we're
balancing
talking about.
the idealism with the pragmatism, and that's what we got to do in all things, and that makes sense. I'm agreeing with you 110%.
My
Can I
God.
slip
Hey,
in for a second? Just for 1 second. I'll be short. I just did want to say this, okay? I'm not a proponent for drug dealers. And I started with the question was, how are we forgiving the drug dealers on the corner by not getting rid of them? I don't think we're forgiving them. They just
We giving
exist.
them TV shows, Rico. We giving them TV shows and idolizing
Let
them,
me
bro.
finish. Let me finish.
that's not us,
Hollywood
though.
gives
That's not us.
right.
But we're
Hollywood
not doing
gives.
nothing to stop it.
Okay,
What are
let me
we doing to
finish.
stop it?
They're giving TV shows to people in the LGBT community. They're giving TV shows to just gangsters. They're giving TV shows to all sorts of ilks of society. So we can't say because they're giving them TV shows. All I'm saying is that I know in reality drug dealers exist. I'm not forgiving them. I'm not also not getting rid of them. I'm just not a part of their life. The only other thing I would caveat, and then I'll get off of it, is for the number of people that you say, and I agree that yes, drug dealers have gotten people hooked on drugs and people have died from drugs. Let me finish. However, at no greater of a percentage through illicit drugs than legal drugs, because the pharmaceutical industry is out here since the beginning of time. People have been hooked at the same number off of legal narcotics as illegal narcotics, but I don't hear anybody, and I work for a large pharmaceutical. I'm telling you, so we in one breath, if we're saying we're ignoring the drug dealers, we're also ignoring OxyContin and all the other, legal drugs that people are out here being hooked on. And I mean, it goes all the way back to the 1800s when there was real Coke in Coca-Cola.
Right.
Okay, remember there used to be cocaine in Coca-Cola in the 1800s. That's where the name came from. So I'm not a proponent for drug dealers. I wish they were gone. However, if we have to put everything into the conversation, and I just don't like the concept of saying, I don't think anyone in here is forgiving the drug dealers. I don't think anyone on this panel does. I don't, but I don't think that's.
But if you're giving them jobs, then you're forgiving. You're showing grace.
But I'm not giving them jobs.
What job?
I gotta say this.
in the community?
I need to jump in on this.
Wait, let's get it clear because I think
we
everybody.
Just said. I'm
I'm
sorry.
saying,
We just
one at
said,
a time. One at a time. One at a time.
Okay, let me say this, brother, because I do have to leave. So I'm gonna say this. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is, if we're giving the drug dealers a pass, then how come we got a brother that's all he's doing is playing mind games, saying different words, and we ain't willing to give him a pass, but we're willing to give the drug dealers a pass. We're willing to give them a pass. We ain't out there marching in front of them, doing everything. And I'm not saying that's intelligent to do that at this point. But what I'm saying is, if we're gonna give them a pass, how come we can't give our own brother who's a little closer to us a pass and just say, forget him, man. We can just move past him. That was my whole point about that. I wasn't trying to say, oh, you need to forgive the drug dealers. No, I'm never saying something like that. I'm just saying they bringing the most harm. That's the reality of the situation. They're bringing the most harm. The pimps, the sex workers, they're bringing the most harm to our people by proximity. So if we're gonna not address that, how are we gonna address a little brother that's just saying something that's?
What?
I agree.
I have a cousin that he was selling drugs, and I used to go to my cousin. I say, listen, because I used to own a truck and trailer. I bought that through saving up my money working in corporate. So what I told my cousin, I said, listen, and I showed him receipts, and I told him, I said, listen, if you get your truck and trailer, you get your CDL license, and you become owner operator, you can make X amount of dollars. And I said, do that for a few years because you got children. So your next step could be you can move up to being a freight broker, and they make X amount of dollars, and I could connect you to people that's doing exactly that, so you could be able to see it. Now, a couple of years later, my cousin, who is 29 now, he has used that money to buy himself a truck and trailer. and he also bought himself a box truck. And we're showing him. We're showing him. I'm showing him. I say we because I'm teaching my daughter how to do freight dispatching. So we're showing. We're helping him make the money. You know. So
Gemini,
I think that
were you watching yesterday?
I watched the show today.
One of the
Yesterday's
things I
show
was
today.
saying at the end of yesterday's show was that is one of the ways that our previous generations have kind of low key, indirectly, accidentally let us down. They didn't create the opportunities that you created for that man.
Yeah, but you know what? My cousin, remember, he's been knee deep, so he like, cuz, you know, that kind of talk right there. So I told my cousin, you're gonna have to also work on your communication skills, because when you're talking to these people and when you're negotiating rates for these loads with
Mm-hmm.
these brokers, I've noticed, because I've had drivers, that when you talk a certain way, you get treated a certain way by the brokers.
Mm-hmm.
But when you communicate in this fashion, you're gonna be able to, you know, up the rates on your loads. So yeah, I listened to a majority of the show, but I did not catch that. But you are right. The ball has been dropped. And we as a community, when we talk about code of conduct, when we talk about standard operating procedures, these are things that we need to implement within our own family. Family members need to be held accountable for saving their own family members. Strangers cannot do it because
Yeah,
you don't know the people and you can't really reach them that way,
it's
so to
true.
speak. Yeah.
Salute to what you did for that young man. I hope everybody hear that and let it resonate in their spirit and push that forward.
But the reason why he was able to listen to me is because I think that a lot of times we got to show proof. When these guys are out there on the streets like that,
Thank
you
you.
got to show proof because they filled with lives. That's a
Mhm.
that's a lifestyle where you can't trust anyone because everyone is trying to get you and people trying to take money from you. So when you showing proof, you know, I think that's the best way to get these people to listen.
Fact.
And I don't believe in discarding anyone because we have to look at the storyline, the context behind people, and that's the reason why I'm suggesting that the family members, um, do this job, do this work, because no one else can. We don't know the people, but I know my cousin, and I know how to speak the language to my cousin.
Right.
Mhm.
When you, and at least with the feds, when you are getting sentenced, you have to go for a pre-sentences interview, and they have to tell you what time you get, right? And they was going, the more issues you have, sometimes the less time you get because they know you had to go through a lot. Foster home, drugs, alcohol. People go on programs. They say they're on drugs and they're not, just to go on programs, right? They was going to throw the book at me because I come from a two-parent household. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I should know better. So the forgiveness level was on nothing. Like you know what you're doing. You stole all that money from Columbia University. I can't say they had slaves. You stole all that money. You knew what you were doing. This is why it's easier for me to forgive a drug dealer who grew up in an impoverished community because they had a lot of hurdles. I'm not making an excuse. And it's not easy for me to forgive someone that says they're millionaires and they do everything for the community and yada, 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 because you should know better. So my tolerance level is at a minimum for that network. That my tolerance is at a minimum for that network because that network uses the same manipulation games that the oppressor used. They sell you hope. They tell you they're going to do this for you if you do this, and they never do it. This is why I don't show them any type of level of forgiveness. This is why I don't show the oppressor any level of forgiveness because you know better.
Mm-hmm.
My guy.
The same government that tells us to be nonviolent is the most violent government on this planet.
Hold up. I'm not against the American government. I'm against the oppressor because the American government is institution. So what happens is no matter who you put inside that institution, they're going to produce the same results. That's why institutional racism. So the people inside it, sometimes we have black politicians, they're still doing the same thing. It's the institution, right? So my thing is, but I benefited from the institution. Whether I want to admit it or not, I have benefited. But I also know that it comes with a penalty to partake in this Sodom and Gomorrah, this modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. It's a penalty, right? So what I want to say is, I'm not here to hurt Anton or Chicago or JR. I'm here to destroy that institution, that philosophy of thought. And I want us to start learn how to forgive people, but let's not forgive the institution or that philosophy of thought. That's the real oppressor. That's the real oppressor. That's the one that says no matter who you have in our system, we will produce monsters. I don't want us to forgive the institution. You could forgive a human, but not the institution. And once you see someone that subscribes to that institution, then they become what Hannibal says they are.
Get the likes up.
Irredeemable.
That's it.
Facts.
That's it. Get the likes up, please. We need 3 more subscribers to 675. Can we get that, please, before we get off the line? Any closing arguments? Starting from Rico, Gemini, Mayat, Cherry, and then the fellas up top.
Great show as always. Blessings.
Thank you.
I wanted to say this in regards to Hannibal said something about when we forgive these people, or like when he see people forgiving these people for doing atrocities to their children, and that those people should be prepared to go to jail. I say that yes, do that, but we need to have attorneys on deck that's able to that knows the law, because some groups, they can commit crimes and they don't go to prison. Why?
Fact.
Because they got attorneys, they got a network, and that's the thing that we need to build with a think tank. We need to cover every aspect of life so that we can be covered. And this code of conduct, operating procedures need to be like a memo sent out to the community, and it needs to be people who are able to persuade people, into adhering to this code of conduct, agreeing to this code of conduct. And I believe then we'll start seeing changes.
Okay.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. That's something that I have been saying. We need that code of conduct. We need our own military. We need people in science. We need people in tech. We need people all across the board. And just like in something that E Black said in the chat, is that acting like savages is not us acting like savages. And I'm personally not going to avenge myself because I know my children need me. I personally don't. It kind of depends. It has to be a group of people who are ready to take action. There are white people who agree wholeheartedly with what police are doing, but they're not the ones doing it. They know that these they can call, there's judges. These judges they don't do it themselves. They know that they have the power to put you in certain positions where it's going to be done to you. So it's not necessarily us doing it personally. We need to have people in position who are ready to take action on behalf of the wrongs that are done to us. Again, I echo what it says within the principles of Ma'at. You don't have that anger. You don't do things against anyone without just cause. So we have just cause to do something. Those things need to be done. Reciprocity is a principle of Ma'at. Reciprocity is not all about relationships. It's about giving back directly to the original sender what was given to you. So we cannot just sit back and and not take action, but we have to be strategic in what we're doing. And this conversation, it can't just be on YouTube. It has to be behind closed doors. It has to happen for not all others to see. So if we're really about solutions, if we're really about doing these things, they have to happen behind closed doors. We have to know who is for us and who is against us. We have to know who the oppressor in our communities are and the people who are for us. Marcus Garvey said that he did not want everyone to go back to Africa. He said, because if they're no good here, they're going to be no good over there. And, shout out to, come subscribe to my channel, My Aunt Speaks.
Yes, yes.
Good job, Maya.
I have to say it's been amazing since I've been watching this platform, and then actually I learned a lot, and I think I grew some too. I talked about this platform today in a business meeting. Because the discussions that
I want some PC. Give me some money. I'm joking.
There's just so many thoughts and experience that we share in this platform, and I think it is such a how should I say? It feels amazing to witness, and same token, and part of this elevation and evolution, I would say. We might not feel the changes at this moment, but I think the change is already happening. That's how I feel at this moment. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me go first and let the gentleman go last. I want to say thank you so much. And I want you to say, I really am grateful for this. Because if my mother, who was a registered nurse, can get information about this show and she has no idea how to work a computer from her colleagues' daughters, that means this show, it might not show subscribers, but people are really watching this show, believe it or not. The impact of this show is not a joke. I would like to leave by saying my favorite quote by Malcolm X, and he goes, "I do not pretend to be a divine man, but I do believe in divine guidance, divine power, and in the fulfillment of divine prophecy. I am not educated, nor am I an expert in any particular field, but I am sincere, and my sincerity is my credentials." And this is why this show wins, because this show is based on sincerity. That's our credentials. That's what we all have in common, is our sincerity. This is not contrived. So I want to say thank you, and all my sincere soldiers out there, continue to be sincere and use that as your credentials to accomplish all things in life. Thank you.
I want Hannibal to go, and then Rico.
With y'all permission, I'm more than ready.
Yes, sir.
So first and foremost, in the spirit of the theme of the show, if anybody felt offended by anything I said, I ask you for forgiveness, because I mean well. I mean well. Like Maat said, we got to continue these conversations. And I'm on this show, and I do what I do because I want to instigate these conversations. My Apparel instigates these conversations. These podcasts instigate these conversations, and these conversations can be the catalyst to real change. And we need real change, because I'm telling you, if you knew what I knew about this society, you'd be fucking worried. Okay? We need to be civically engaged, right? And you know what else we need? And this is what I want for myself, and I hope you want it for yourself. I want my kids, if they ask you, do you think your dad, do you think your grandfather worked to make your condition better? I want them to honestly be able to say yes. Because what I did and what I said was understood to be selfless and altruistic and based in my love for them and their welfare and their future welfare and their kids' welfare. We're behind the fucking 8 ball. We're here enjoying a higher quality of life because somebody thought about us 60 years ago. Now let us think about them, and let us get serious about the issues that we deal with, and let us believe in our power, and let us lend our energy and power to those issues and fucking solve them.
Right. Right. Damn, Mayat, what's going on? Everybody, he gotta come on. I like that. You inspire her. That's what I'm talking about.
Facts.
Who's next?
I guess I'll go then. I guess I'll go.
Yeah. Yeah, you're funny. Darrell is funny, man.
Man, Hannibal, thank you for making me your royal executioner. I feel knighted. I feel like you put the sword on both sides. Right. And genuinely, I've been waiting for somebody with this energy. Not saying that the men up here don't, but I've been waiting for this specific energy.
I don't. I'm on probation. I don't have that. I'm on probation. I'll let y'all know right now.
We need people, like Gemini said, from her observation as a flower, they change and they start treating another flower differently because of how a man held them accountable. Just imagine what we can do if we hold people accountable. No more 67,000 black women. No more Sandra Bland's, right? I'm going to say this last, Hannibal, too, because I know you know this already. The Black Panthers used to follow police officers around while they were on shifts, armed, bullets, and ready to go. Why? We're going to hold you accountable. We're not about to talk about it either. You're either going to treat us right or we're about to hold you accountable to death, period. Right? So we want to ask people to people who've been stumping on us and beating on us and giving us books to read and not teaching us education. We want to give them grace and act like it's not us being cowards, right? We want to tell people it's okay for them to destroy our family and kids, but we're just going to pray for them. We're not going to do nothing in return. That's crazy to me. We must be kings in a matter of fact. We got to be kings in the sense that when people think about even fucking with our flowers, they know, hey, man, Hannibal, Chef, them boys over there, they about to destroy y'all if y'all come for them flowers. You better think twice. You go fuck with somebody else's flowers, but they flowers, don't fuck with them. Once we got that type of gate around the black community, nobody coming in and fucking with us unless you allowed in, right? But right now we got too many weak men that make excuses, that want to leave stuff up to benevolent people to fix our problems. I'm not really here for that. I'm not here for that at all. I fuck with you, Hannibal. Thank you for coming on the show again and being a guest. And thank everybody else on the show, Mayat. Damn, Rico.
Well, he ain't a guest. He's permanent.
All right then.
Well, I appreciate the welcome. I appreciate the welcome, brother. I really do. And that's why I came back. I was sitting here. I was thinking, what is I'm gonna do for the rest of the evening? I'm gonna go hang out with my new friends. Shit, come on now,
my guy.
All right.
Black. Yeah, it was really good. It was a good show. And shout out to Hannibal. You know, I'm glad he mentioned, taking up for the community. Daryl talked about the Black Panthers. You know, this is the 55th anniversary of them. Dr. Huey P. Newton, he had a statue put up in West Oakland on Mandela Parkway and Dr. Huey P. Newton Drive on 19th. You know, shout out to Acorn. Shout out to the Ghost Town. You know, shout out to the folks out there. So I really appreciate a guy like Hannibal who has a lot of Black Panther paraphernalia on his site, and he's constantly pushing the message forward. You know. And talking about, I think at the end of this conversation, we still got to grace. We still got it. We still showed there are certain people we're going to show grace to in our forgiveness, and we're going to act accordingly. And I think we had a great conversation. So, you know, if you didn't know already, I'm eBlack at eBlack TV. You can find me there. And hopefully you can subscribe, like, hit the bell, do all that stuff. So hope y'all enjoy y'all rest of y'all evening.
What's going on, y'all? First and foremost, yeah, I'm awake. All right. First and foremost, my brain doesn't sleep. Literally, I'm literally an insomniac, without joke. That's why my company is called Insomnia Marketing, right? So I say this. I've been a part of the movement let me rewind before the movement. I grew up in Flatbush, Brooklyn, New York. Only about, I'm a couple years older than King, but I grew up only literally about 4 blocks away from King, right?
You were.
So we saw the crack epidemic. I was there. In 86, I was 14. 88, you know what I'm saying? Look, man, I saw it. I know killers. I know people that are killers. I know that went into that business. I know people that were mathematicians that went into that business. I know people that were natural diplomats that went into that business. There were certain people within that business that I had spoken to, certain ones, they literally said, yeah, I know, and they know me in the hood as Pup in Brooklyn. Like, yeah, Pup, I know, man, but I got to get to this bread, man. My family, my daughter, my family, my daughter, myself. They said, yeah, I hear all of that poison and shit, Pup, but I got to do for mine. So in the end, is it for the community, or was it an actual, conscious decision to make a choice of one over the other? I'm not judging those people because I love them and they love me. But at some point, some folks made a conscious choice. Was it to actually uplift the community? Was it to be, were they doing it to be like the Kennedys and, to be able to take all of that financial wherewithal and increase the benefit of the community? I'm be honest with you, I don't know not one of them. And I know a lot. So I understand when we talk about the things that we're going to do for our community. If you ever heard of a brother named Michael Griffiths, who died in a place called Howard Beach. Howard Beach exists at the end of Linden Boulevard in Brooklyn. King knows. Yep. At the end of Howard Beach, where it's the borderline between Brooklyn and Queens, right. Michael Griffiths was walking home from work. And he was coming home from work, and he crossed into an area, it was Howard Beach, where the Gambinos and them and John Gotti and them were in charge. And he was beaten, killed by a mob of people. I marched for that shit. I marched with I marched with Al Sharpton and a large group of people for that. There was last year they put out a documentary about a brother named Yusef Hawkins. He went to a high school in Bensonhurst called New Utrecht, and there was a girl. He was looking for a car. He worked and he went looking for a car. And one of the girls who lived in Bensonhurst, which is a primarily white Italian neighborhood, she told him about a car that was there for sale. Facts. After school, he went with her to go over there, and he got beaten down, beat to death.
He was shot twice too.
A group of teams, okay? And I marched. I was there. I was a part of that movement. So when we talk about mobilizing and we talk about all of these things, maybe it's some old dude shit that I'm talking about or some OG shit I'm talking about. But I've been in the mix and I've been through a lot of different struggles. But one thing that we have to do and that we can't conflate, man, is when somebody's doing something for their own financial gain and benefit, we can't conflate that with somebody else. We can't conflate that with Black revolutionaries robbing a bank to help the cause for our people. It's not the same thing. It's not, because if it was the same thing, our community would be in a way better place. I have friends that were raised by their grandmothers, while another friend over there was the one that sold crack to their mom. That's why they're being raised by their grandmother. So we could sit there and peel back the lens and go macro on everything and talk about, oh, this is what it is. But those individuals that are actually the ones, the hamsters in the wheel, is it really doing that? And we have to start viewing the pros and the cons. Us talking about them increasing the help to the community at this point is an ideal. It's an ideal that has not fully been executed yet. It really, really is, man. So I understand the militancy. I've been in the paint. I've been in them streets. I've saved people, real people's lives. I've helped people. I've helped empower families. I've done it. Okay. I've seen a friend kill a friend. So when we talk about, and the shit had nothing to do with empowering the community. It had to do with a couple bricks. So we have to be realistic in terms of when we say what's going on over there, what we accept, and what it's for. Because I've seen the gamut of all of the different pieces, man. Is it helping the community? I haven't seen it as yet. I haven't seen it as yet. Is there a possibility? Yeah, you know, but at what cost, man? You heard of the term Pyrrhic victory? Pyrrhic, victory. You know, it's a victory that's won, but at a monumental cost. You know, so what are we doing, man? What are we doing? And that's all I got for you.
Good talk.
On that note, everybody got to get their piece. I appreciate you, and I'll see you tomorrow. And if you know Friday, like I know Friday is gonna be crazy. So show up, please show up, and enjoy your weekend. Be safe. It's Halloween. It's Halloween weekend. Be very safe out here. Protect your kids and protect your loved ones. And that's basically it. Protect them, and be careful how you treat people, because you don't know who's who. That's it. All right, take care, everybody.
Peace.